Episode 7, or Phase of Our Lives.
Or Vampire, Fae, Maker, Mate.
Or My Boys.
Or Bonerific.
Yeah, could be.
Could be. It could be. Welcome back to Between Pages and Friends, a book club podcast hosted by Con and Lauren, two besties who read a lot of books, and John and Kyle, their gamer-turned-reader husbands who've agreed to read with them. I'm John.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Con.
And I'm Lauren. We are officially starting Brimstone by Callie Hart.
Yeah!
This is book 2 in the Fae and Alchemy series, and today we're discussing the prologue through chapter 6. This is a book club podcast, and all 4 of us are first-time readers on this book, which means there will be no spoilers for anything beyond chapter 6 today. That's all we've read, so literally can't be spoilers. Each week, we'll only be discussing the chapters assigned to the episode.
However, since this is book 2 in the series, there will be spoilers for all of book 1, Quicksilver, and all 5 of the Quicksilver bonus chapters. Additionally, please do not put Brimstone spoilers in any comments or DMs. We will not be finishing the book until January, so we ask that you refrain from sending us anything about Brimstone until we've had the chance to enjoy our first read spoiler-free.
In the meantime, if you'd like a safe space to discuss with us and other first-time readers, join our Patreon. All Patreon tiers will grant you access to our community Discord with dedicated chats to discuss each podcast episode with or without spoilers. Our $5 Patreon tier also includes all of our live events, monthly book club, reading challenges, and the full archive of our past content. For $10 a month, you will also receive early access to ad-free episodes, merch discounts, voting privileges, and exclusive hangout space, and more.
We would also love to meet you in person. On April 25th, we'll be attending A Sorcerer's Affair at Bergmont Winery in Bucyrus, Kansas. It'll be a truly magical evening by Bookish Lore Events with a VIP experience hosted by the 4 of us and some other amazing content creators. Tickets are limited, so use code FRIENDS15 for $15 off your ticket right now at bookishloreeventskc.com.
And finally, whether this is your first time or 80th time listening to the show, please take a moment to let others know what you think. Writing a quick review on Apple Podcast or Audible helps our little book club grow. It's free, it means the world to us, and you might just hear your name on a future shout out. Here's a recent 5-star review on Apple Podcasts from our new bestie, Danielle, titled, "I've never laughed so hard at a podcast. I found Between Pages and Friends right before EnchantingCon 2025 and binged all their Throne of Glass episodes. I've never laughed so hard at a podcast. Their personalities are amazing, and Kyle and Lauren's first-time read reactions made it so fun to relive the series. I can't wait to keep listening and follow along with new readers like I'm right now in the book club with them." Thank you, Danielle.
Nice.
Thanks. I can't believe you listened to us talk for that long. And you still
so
wrote us a
much.
5-star
Nice work, I
review.
know,
So
yeah.
nice.
You're the best.
Wow.
You a real G. It wasn't that funny.
I just wasn't expecting it.
I appreciate it, but, you know.
Whew, okay. All right. This is the part of the show where we start going through all the new names and places mentioned in this chapter section. Welcome back, my friends, to Con's Declassified Fantasy Pronunciation Guide. That felt good. It's been a while. In this section, I am referencing the audiobook narrated by Stella Bloom and Anthony Palmini, as well as the written pronunciation guide in the front of the book. Both of these things have me back in pronunciation consistency heaven, so let's get into it. In places, there weren't really any new places mentioned yet, but our story picks back up in Amontreath. This is the Vampire Palace in Sanisroth, also referred to as the Black Palace. There was a mention of the cogs here, and those are the obsidian walls that guard the small city at the foot of Amontreath. And then just a refresh on some other locations, we have Irin, Kalish, Ivelia, the Agen Gate, and the Mirage in Zilvarin. In characters, as a quick little recap of our Quicksilver cast, we have Ceres, Fane, Kingfisher, Carrion, Swift, Dianthus, Lorith, Danya, Everlane, and Renfis. This chapter section, we officially meet the Blood Court. This is a council of high bloods in Amontreath, all bearing gold rings with a purple stone gifted to them by Malcolm. These 5 Lords of Midnight are Taladeus, Keeper of Secrets, Zovina, Keeper of Missives, Aerith, Keeper of the Even Light, the Hazrax, Keeper of Silence, and the last of its kind. Dang it. I should have written this one down because now I'm questioning myself.
I'll get.
I think it's all got.
Probably. Big Al is what they
I'm
call
going to
it.
say all got. I need to
Al to his friends, yeah.
give it all you got. And lastly, we have Algat, Keeper of Records, formerly an exiled witch. The last new character I have for you is Maynir. This is Talena's mate.
Mate?
Mate?
Got excited.
In world building, we're giving a little refresh on some of our god swords. So we have mentions in this section of Simon. This is Carrion's god sword forged by Ceres in Quicksilver. Solus is currently Ceres's god sword, but formerly belonged to Kingfisher's father, Finrin. Solus was forged a millennia ago and once imbued with magic. This is also the sword that Madra used to still the Quicksilver, and then Ceres was the one who pulled it out of the Quicksilver and reactivated it in book 1. The last god sword mentioned here is Avisiath, and this is Lorith's god sword, reforged by Ceres, after the sword previously belonged to Danya and was called Seleandor. What are these hand motions?
I believe that was a retractable sword that Kyle was bringing out there.
Oh, his is just the longest
just
sword.
kept
It was just
going.
kept coming out of the sheath.
It just kept
That's what I've heard
going.
about Laura.
Keeps
He has
pulling
a
it
pretty
out.
long sword.
Oh my gosh. Lastly, in world building, we have the Law of Ascension, by which the Blood Court was bound, meaning they had to acknowledge and obey any new Sanus Rothian royalty for a time before trying to steal their throne. And lastly, we have a quick recap of the gods, at least the gods of Evalia. So this is the Corcoran, the collective name for all 7 gods that are worshipped in Evalia. We have Styx, god of shadows, Curin, god of secrets, Nichenai, goddess of masks, Malleus, god of dawn and new beginnings, Baal and Mithyn, who are twin sisters, goddesses of the sky. Baal is the goddess of the sun, Mithyn is the goddess of the moon, and then Zareth, god of chaos and change, the one who turned Ceres half fae, half vampire at the end of Quicksilver. And now, here he is. Royal reader of the recaps, champion of the chapters, presenter of the plot points, love of my life, John.
Thanks. We're back, folks. Starting with Kingfisher and a foul stench of death that stings the nostrils. He leaves Ceres' room to track down the source, reaching a vampire that had been stalking outside of her room, and runs him through to the hilt. No, this isn't a sex scene, but also not the velvet. He gives a little warning about Ceres and turns to ash. Carrion shows up a bit winded and concerned about something as he takes Fisher to the nearest window, where they look out upon a darting white speck, quickly realizing to be Onyx being chased by a horde of feeders. Fisher moves on the double, charging down to find our trusty steed Bill, with Carrion tagging along. They make their way out to meet Onyx, take down some feeders in the process, and promptly head back to the fortress. Onyx is slightly injured, and Fisher gives some of his healing magic over to the fox. In the chaos of them returning, we get a little insight here from Fisher and Lorith that Foley may be somewhere in Amontreath, but they haven't tracked him down yet. And finally, Onyx and Ceres are reunited. But their next task is to make it through the coronation. We get a glimpse into many facets of some relational tension after Carrion accurately describes Ceres looking like a damn schnack. We get a little crash course of vampire politics just like Ceres, and they finally head into the Hall of Tears. It's filled with high bloods and then the 5 lords in the middle. We get some history of each lord as she notices them one by one, Fisher kind of introducing each of them to her in her head. Zovina starts in with the usual, "This can't be the thing that killed my quote-unquote father. She has no right to be here, let alone be queen, blah, blah, blah," getting everybody riled up to her cause. Aerith takes the lead and makes a point that if she were to just drink some blood, everything would be fine and dandy and they can get on with the coronation. So she does. And from Fisher, no less. Great idea. And naturally, she sees new colors and feels new sensations, especially where it matters most. Meanwhile, Fisher gets harder than a... Well, and now she is, quote-unquote, leashed by the blood, as Aerith puts it. And as soon as she's crowned, Aerith goes in for the kill. But Fisher was one step ahead. He knew it was coming. Fisher slams into Aerith, sending him flying down the steps. And before he can throw his dagger, Fisher has Nimmerell unsheathed and spiraling from an absolutely one-handed beam like he's Liam Neeson and Rob Roy, basically cutting Aerith in half.
Damn!
Some of Aerith's minions are felled by Tal's magic, which we learn is manipulating liquids, which is very interesting. We also learn from some of Aerith's final moments that they have different gods in Sanisroth, or just as the vampires. And with striking authority, Saris gives her first edicts as the new queen. We join Fisher back in Erin. Rin and Lorith give him a quote-unquote hard time about getting dosed by Saris and having a raging boner in front of everybody at the coronation. And then we find out the details of Foley, how after falling off Namshakrai, feeders had drained him and he should have become one himself, but that Tal fed Foley his blood and then drained him so that Foley might have a choice on whether he wanted to live or die. Clearly he chose to live, turned into a vampire, and apparently fled to Amentraeth. We also learn that Foley's grandfather was one of the last living alchemists, and that they need that knowledge, obviously, for Saris and to just, all the things. Then Danya rushes in, tells him that there's something they all need to see. They head to the Darn. Across the way, 8 feeders stand on the other side, and they charge. Something is different about them. They wait till the feeders are halfway. Rin sends his orb, hitting 2 of them head on, but they absorb the blow, and it seems like the power gets kind of shared with the others. Fisher also sends his shadows, but they too are absorbed. Both Rin and Fisher feeling the effects of it inside, kind of like the feeders had fed on their magic. They continue to charge, making it to the bank. Fisher ordering not to use magic, only silver. Fisher's first blow with Nimmerell, however, caused the sword itself to scream. Falling into the icy Darn does nothing to them either. The squad struggles on the bank to take care of these things. Fisher finally calling for fire, which seems to have an effect, but really only just, as they continue to cause mayhem while completely engulfed. They manage to decapitate each one and tie the bodies to a tree, still writhing, the heads still trying to chew through the sack that they're being held in. They debrief after the fight, Rin accusing Tal of being the one to create something like this, getting upset that Fisher is always defending him. They eventually head back to Amentraeth to show Saris and Tal the heads. Lorith just comes right out, asks Tal if this was him. Tal denies, stating that something like this is beyond him. Saris and Fisher have a mind conversation while everyone else is discussing the new destructive creature. Carrion is the one to notice something different after studying the heads, noting that normal feeders usually come from Evalia, but these are from Silvarin, and that they also have a marking on the neck, the same one that Saris has. Also, that they have rounded ears. These feeders are human. They determined that they couldn't have just stumbled into Evalia, that they were sent here intentionally, most likely by Madra. Saris senses some Quicksilver in Amentraeth. There's a pool in the fortress, and they end up using it to head back to Kalish. The group have a nice dinner back together in celebration of Saris being alive, for the most part. Saris and Ishabal have a cute little interaction. Saris tries to be friendly with Danya in a super awkward exchange, with a hint that Danya maybe misses Carrion's company and banter, wink wink. Carrion does eventually show up after clearly having some fun during his bath time with the sprites. A wedding is brought up, but kind of quickly shot down to what seems like Fisher's disappointment and Archer's. As we end on a high note of celebration for this chapter section, clearly teeing up sadness, destruction, death, and who knows what the hell else as we continue.
Wow. Well, on that positive note, now that we're refreshed on the happenings of this chapter section, let's unpack, starting with the prologue. My first note was on the very first line of this prologue, where it just said, "A wolf was a versatile creature." And I went full freak out in the most Twilight way ever. I'm like, If we're getting werewolves in this book, I will die. And we're going full new moon.
Full moon. Yikes.
Oh, new moon.
Who?
That's the
Who's
second
moon?
book.
Who's mooning?
I mean, I'll take it.
From the wolf or the who?
Who?
Yeah, technically wolves
an
have a
owl?
full moon out at all times. They don't wear pants.
Perfect. Can't wait.
My first note here was when it says the foundations of our plan were laid, and Saris understood the part she had to play in carrying them out, but she was nervous. And I wrote, of course, a plan. There's always a plan. Do we know what it is? Nope. Exactly. It's like, a plan. Dang it.
Yes. My first note here is Kingfisher going hunting for a vampire in Amentriath to protect Saris. And I love Callie for creating humor in random moments like this when Kingfisher runs his sword through this vampire and he's like, "You've ruined the velvet."
It's pretty fun.
That was the best.
Like
but
as he
also, yeah, literally as he's dying. However, there was relief in the vampire's eyes as he died, and he told Kingfisher that he saved him from what he'd become. And then he said, "They're going to destroy her, you know. It has already been seen. This court will fall with her inside it." And then Kingfisher's like, "No, Saris is safe." And the vampire just laughs to death. And I don't
As
have
his teeth fall out.
a lot of questions. What a way to go. I have so many questions about this, but I feel like I don't know if he was even talking about Saris. Do we have any theories on this? Because I don't. I'm asking if anybody else does.
Yeah,
I got
so
lost with the teeth.
for me, sorry, I got distracted by my own note. No,
About hot
my note
vampires?
here. Yeah, yes. Well, yeah, my first thing I wrote here was, if we're going there, was that I wasn't sure how I felt about Kingfisher going around just killing hot vampires left and right. Not gonna lie, it's just a little upsetting. But also just because having read so many vampire books, it is actually hard for me to remember that they are supposed to be evil in this book.
Just want to romanticize them. Yes.
Exactly. Because also Taladeus seems to be okay with everyone.
Yeah.
And
True.
Saris is obviously fine. But for whatever reason,
Yeah,
this
she
guy
is.
wasn't. And some of the other people that.
You've been reading too much vampire propaganda. That's how they get you. We all think they're hot
Oh
till
my
they
gosh.
show up.
Oh, that's funny. But my comment on when Kingfisher starts talking about how Saris is safe and whatever, I was like, this vampire never said Saris's name.
Right.
Kingfisher just assumes it's Saris. I don't know who else he would be talking about necessarily, but it definitely feels like the beginning, setting us up for a moment as readers to make assumptions just to be tricked later or something.
Yes.
So, I don't know.
I agree.
I honestly forgot about this guy. Because it was my first note was about Onyx, which is my next note. But I did think, watching this happen, him getting stabbed and dying and only caring about the velvet jacket and then turning into ash and all your teeth falling out. I'm like, that's like a high school nightmare, like a classic nightmare. You're physically hurt in your dream, but for some reason you're like, oh no, my jacket. And then all your teeth fall out and you die.
You wake up, man,
You
that was
still have to give a
weird.
presentation.
Yeah. It bothers you
Nice.
the rest of the day. What does it mean?
Oh, that's amazing.
No, my first note was on Onyx, where Kingfisher had said that he had left him in, is it Kalish? Mm-hmm. I can't remember now. It's all new again. Kingfisher said that he had left Onyx in Kalish, and I feel like we spent the last half of the book wondering what Onyx was up to, and it felt like this was Callie's exact thought as well at the beginning of this one, oh, I left him over there. Gotta get back in. Because I thought it was going to be something where it's Onyx is in danger and they go have to save him or something. But no, it was just you forgot about me. I'm going to run over.
He made an impossible feat, climbing mountains
Right.
through
Yeah.
avalanches and made it over.
Yeah, and that was so brushed over. He even mentioned it and then oh man, that was impossible for him to do. And then the next paragraph was but he did it. We're not
It's
going to
fine.
question it.
Yeah,
He did it.
he did it.
He did do it. That's my first note, was just, my boy, in all capitals. But he did. He ran his little legs all the way across a treacherous, lethal mountain range and a river and through Santa's Rock, being chased by feeders just to be with Saris. He's the best boy in the whole realm. That's so sad.
And Kingfisher says, and I was not about to let that little fox die. And I thought for sure that Connor was going to have a first on the cry counter because of this for Onyx,
In
but
the
I don't.
prologue.
But
The early one.
but I don't think she did.
No, because I knew Callie wouldn't do that to me.
You
She
knew
would have
I
lost
did.
me before chapter 1 if she would have killed off Onyx
Well,
in the
no, I'm not-
prologue. I
no,
knew
I'm
that
not
wasn't going to
saying-
happen.
I'm not saying that Onyx would have been killed, just the fact that he was the emotional
It all through.
toll of him coming back and
Yeah.
almost getting it.
Very sweet. No, I didn't cry. I did not cry, but my next note is that Carrion swings himself up on top of Bill's back mid-gallop. And he says, "Aren't you going to ask where I learned how to do that?" And Kingfisher goes, "No." And he said, "Lorith showed me." I just
so proud
miss
of
these
himself.
characters so much. Yeah, so proud of himself. I love everything Carrion says, but I had to at least start with a good one-liner from him because I love him.
It's good.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that Lorith showed him because at the end of the last one, they were always like butting heads about stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Like
that
throwing
is
the
true.
knife, and of course he can sing a song, and whatever. So I think it's funny that they worked together on that.
Like I'm imagining the scenario of how that even came up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like the
Like-
training.
Yeah.
How would he?
All right, I'm going to ride
even-
towards you. Hold your hand out.
Yeah.
Or maybe he saw Lorith do it and he's like, "Damn, teach me how to do that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably more likely.
Well, now he's got like his hot Fae body, so he's
man.
probably
Yeah,
trying
he
all
does.
True.
sorts of
It
stuff.
could have been his pre-Fae self where Lorth was like, look, you're going to need someone to pull you onto a horse, so you better know how to do it.
Yeah.
True.
Well, I had to shout out Bill here
Bill.
because he really stepped up in this moment. Bill snorted and blew, charging at the oncoming feeders. He didn't even flinch. And I read that and I was like, Bill, a gentleman and a warrior. Let's go. I was so pumped for Bill here because it's like he's literally just introduced as this horse when they're going through like the Wickerwood or whatever it's called. And then,
The
but
Morning
now
Wood.
she's like building him up as this like amazingly loyal and tough horse. And I was just like,
Yes.
it's something I was not expecting at all. So I was like, Bill, let's go. And also Fisher gritted his teeth so hard his jaw cracked. Drinkies.
Ouchie.
Drinkies.
First
Hydrate,
drinkies
everybody.
of the new book.
Yes, if you're listening for the first time, anytime a character's jaw clenches or they grind their
Ticks.
teeth or something, yes, jaw
Yeah.
ticks, you got to take a drink.
Of water.
Whatever's closest to you. Oh,
Oh.
Of whatever's closest to you? That might be dangerous at some people's work.
OSHA violation.
Guys like, well, I work in a nuclear factory, but they said anything near me, so...
Anything near me.
I had a note that, well, this is when Carrion said that to Kingfisher, like, oh, I'll save you. And Kingfisher said to Carrion, the day you save me on a battlefield, I'll put on a dress and dance an effing jig. And my only note was, noted. I'm sure this will come back up.
I hope
Gonna
it
write
does.
that down. Yeah.
I know. I hope that's foreshadowing. Oh, that's funny. I just really loved this action-packed rescue scene in the prologue. It was like way to kick it off, and it was like all hype, and I'm like cheering and
Yes.
all this stuff. And we hadn't even technically gotten into the book yet, with this only being the prologue. But I'm really interested in why this was the prologue and not just part of the main book, because it flows so easily into what is currently happening. It doesn't feel like this was, like some in-between time we're missing or something. And so it's like, is this supposed to be like extra important, or is this supposed to be just like some fun little rescue on the side because she kind of just forgot about the fox or something, kind of like Kyle was saying? There's just so many theories on the internet about Onyx, and is he more than a fox, or is he just a fox? And for some, like, I just feel like this solidifies that he is more than a fox, I think. Or like the fact that he's able to make this crazy journey that even regular people can't do, and all this stuff. I don't know. I would be happy if he stays just this cute little lovable side character person. I don't think I'd be upset about that. But I just feel like setting it aside in its own little thing, like calling it the prologue, plus him being able to do this giant feat that no one else can,
Yeah.
just makes it feel like it's being extra pointed out, that there's something different than it just being a regular fox.
Yeah, he's also so heavily featured in the artwork for Brimstone.
Yes.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, that's right.
he's got his own end papers, and then on the Target special edition, there's like little paw prints that go all around the sprayed edges.
Yeah.
That feels important too.
So in one way, at least he makes it to the end of the book, because he's got his art.
Oh, that was
Wow,
rude.
Kyle.
I interview with Callie where somebody asked where Onyx was or like what was going on, and she was like, yeah, of course Onyx is alive at the beginning of Brimstone. And they were like, the beginning of Brimstone?
What the heck?
A weird thing to end that with.
Yeah.
That's rude.
I do want to know, like, when did Onyx start this journey? Because, or like, how long does it typically take someone to get over all the mountains? Because the story just kind of picks up. It's not like there's like a time jump, really, from book 1 to 2. So he would have been doing that during the end of book 1, right?
I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
So all this time that Connor's been like, where is he? He's like at the top of the mountain.
He's like, I'm
shivering
coming.
he's like, I'm trying.
I'm on my way. Poor little guy.
Well, when they first mentioned looking for Foley here, I had written, I wonder if he's still Fae or if he'll be a vamp, which we get the answer to that later. But I was definitely thinking that if they were looking for him around here, then chances were that he was probably something. He's
Yeah.
no longer Fae, so...
I'll be
Yeah, I
really
thought-
interested if when they find him and like how his character is, if he's going to be an evil vampire or if he's going to be
Yeah.
an okay one that we keep around, you know, or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
Could just change a lot. But while they are having that conversation, Lorith flares his nostrils and a muscle jumps in his jaw. So
okay.
jinky jinkies.
Wow.
Full
Muscle
jump.
jumping in his jaw. I kind of like that description. It's different. Hasn't been used before.
Ever?
Ever.
Ever.
Never, ever.
Callie's a literary genius for jumping in his jaw.
This is a
Look
long
at that
way, though.
verbiage.
If you look at the map,
funny.
now
Look
Casey,
at
I
the
can't
map.
look at this backwards, but this is
If you're an audio listener, go look at your map really quick.
Go listen to the map.
Polish is up here, and Little Onyx ran. These are the Omnimaran Mountains, so he would have had to run through the Omnimaran Mountains and then over the Darn, and then Amontreath is down here. But that's like what,
big castle.
a third of the
Yeah.
continent.
That's like 3 inches.
For- I was gonna say that's like a quarter of the page almost.
Order.
oh my gosh, 3 inches.
You guys.
Go away.
Is that a lot or is
Is 3 inches a lot?
that a lot? Or, no,
Would you say that?
average.
Oh my gosh. Con, aren't we the luckiest women in the world?
All this talk about big swords.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I just thought this was really interesting about Malcolm, that we're learning like these little tidbits about him. I just feel like in book 1, Malcolm felt so like untouchable, like he was this ginormous big bad who lived forever and all these things. But then we get like these little pieces of him that makes him seem more weak and how he was super paranoid.
Yeah.
Like according to Tal, he slept in the tower above his actual bedroom. Because he was so paranoid, it urged him to lock himself behind a series of 2-foot thick iron doors while he slept.
Yeah.
And it said, like, if he went out to the balcony, he would be too afraid of his own shadow out here. Stuff like that. And it's like how wildly paranoid he seemed, I guess, on his own. So it makes me also wonder, like, if Madra and Belicon are acting the same way. Because they also, all 3 of them together, had this air of, like, untouchable.
Yeah.
But apparently they weren't acting like that in their own castle or whatever. So, and the fact that Malcolm didn't trust his own people in his own
Yeah.
castle.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the
know.
series of 2-foot thick iron doors I thought was pretty crazy. Like not just the one set.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder how many it was.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
I didn't either.
find a series of
Because
2-foot
my
thick-
thought too is like if he can get
Yeah.
through one set, surely he can get through the others. I don't know. If Malcolm's anything like me, I probably would have been like, okay, 3's too much. Like I'm done. Forget it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
going
interesting.
Yeah. That they would have that set up or whatever.
Yeah, that whole thing was interesting to me about
Yeah.
Malcolm and just kind of changed my views on him, I guess.
It really makes you think of him the one time when he actually goes out to the Darn, like when we meet him for the first time, and you're like,
Yeah.
how tough was that for him? And he was still like playing it off.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was because of the whole like afraid of somebody just like offing him at Amontreath. Maybe that's why he was so paranoid there. And maybe when he was outside of the castle, he felt a little better about it being out in the open. But
Kind of picture like a agoraphobic vampire.
Yeah.
Like Adrian Monk
funny.
if he was in this
Thinking
book. Just like intensely scared and paranoid of germs and everything.
it's kind of funny. Well, I had to note, this is when Kingfisher is remembering something that his mother said to him as a child about like his healing gift that he has. Never doubt your power, sweet one, she told me. Each one of them is a gift. Each one will prove exactly enough when you have need of it. Have faith in yourself. You will always be enough. And I was like, foreshadowing much or what? Especially like the implications of him healing Onyx. And we learn that like once you give that portion of magic over, it's not like it restores itself. It's like you give it over and it's gone, which was super interesting piece of magic there. And then my next note is when Kingfisher is talking to Ceres, and this is in the middle of like healing Onyx. And he says, don't you know, there isn't much I wouldn't sacrifice to make you happy, Osha. A little healing magic is the least of it. I think this maybe calls for some OSHA boys to come in, but not for a violation. We want to reward good behavior. This is actually for some OSHA compliance. So let's bring them in, see what they have to say.
I got you. Okay.
What?
This is a first. A Between Pages and Friends first, folks.
No. Should we explain who the OSHA boys are before they arrive?
Probably should, yeah.
So in our Quicksilver coverage, we met the OSHA boys. They appeared once when the OSHA was violated. And the one
Little
causing the
OSHA.
OSHA violation. Yes, when little OSHA was violated. Heyo. And they just, keep an eye on things, make sure everything's running smoothly.
Yep.
And I don't really know what else they do. They're
Well,
funny.
it was sort of like Kyle's
great.
red flag diary had morphed
Yeah,
into
there you
the
go.
OSHA violations for Quicksilver. And here they are, back in their high-vis vests
Yeah, well,
and their hard hats.
White hard hats. Hello, OSHA boys.
Well.
Oh, good to
How's it
see
going?
ya.
Prologue, huh? Already getting called in.
yeah, we hear that, this time around, we like to make sure that we get all sides of the story. We hear there's some compliance going on, so we wanted to stop by and just give props where props is needed, We had a lot of violations in the last book, so we want to make sure that we come in and, we want to tell him how good of a job he's doing here. Maybe he's turning the corner, but we'll have to see. He's got some ground to make up, but the compliance is definitely, one way to move in the right direction.
Yeah, we love to see clients improve,
That's
We
right.
don't just come and give these violation notices for nothing. We want to see the business better itself.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll stick around. We'll see what happens here with Kingfisher and, yeah.
Ceres.
Ceres.
And
It's in the notes,
little
man. You got
OSHA.
OSHA, yes.
Yes, our
Yeah,
our
the
OSHA. We'll be watching out
OSHA,
for
the
it.
OSHA stuff. Our lunch break is over.
Yeah. See you guys later.
Yeah,
We'll
coffee
be
break.
watching.
All right.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
See you real soon.
Why do they come here on their lunch break? That's kind of weird.
No, we're not paying them. Don't know if they know that.
illegal.
And that ends the prologue. That takes us into chapter 1.
That's me.
Hell's
Chapter
Teeth.
1.
Sorry,
yes,
go ahead.
Hell's Teeth. Hell's Teeth. Is that how you said it?
You like the Perry the Platypus sound, but I can't. do. Yeah.
Chapter 1, Hell's Teeth. This is a Ceres POV, and it starts by saying, the dress was made for sinning. And I wrote, go on.
Yeah, just a little bit later, the slit up the side was cut so high that there was no way I could have worn underwear. And I wrote, go on. And she does. Hips, breasts, ass. I'd had all three before, but now I really had them. Go on.
Oh my gosh. Well, in this description of her too, Carrion does go on and compliments her, which gets the ire of some of the other males in the room. And I just wrote, maybe not letting every dude who has had their mouth on you into the room where you're changing would be a great first step towards them not fighting each other. But you do you, Ceres. I mean, go off.
To which I wrote, go on. I'd read that book.
You might be already. Who knows?
Ooh. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, but then as she's like admiring herself in the mirror, and she's like, really taking in her new Fae / vampire form that she is. She said, and in the end, I was just as Fisher's mother had drawn me. This is real. I was Fae. I was vampire. And I just love that we got to see Fisher's mom's, I don't know, her drawing, her prediction, her vision, I guess, actually like come to fruition because she is that. So I love that for her. And she's killing it as this vampire queen.
Killing it.
Yes, she is.
And of course, this is kind of adding to what Carrion has to say. He's talking to Fisher here. And I can't help it if you aren't falling over yourself to compliment your girlfriend. Carrion countered, raising his glass at Kingfisher. Oh, gods, this was going to be bad. And I just wrote, I mean, he's not wrong. Like, he's just calling how he sees it here. Like, Kingfisher, what are you doing? She's smoking hot. Why am I the one giving her compliments? Oh, man.
Why
Absolutely.
me? What a great burden.
That's funny. Well, his response, I mean, he verbally does respond, but beforehand it just says his, being Kingfisher's, his nostril flared, his jaw working. Drinky, drinky, drink.
Just the one nostril.
A singular nostril flared while the opposite jaw worked.
What muscle control. What a man.
What a man.
This is an important note, you guys. Everybody, shh. As we discussed in our Brimstone Theories episode, I know generally people may not be on board with a why choose situation for this series specifically, but you cannot tell me that this doesn't sound like the perfect setup for one. I'm reading you a quote. They were of a height, the two males, Talladais and Fisher, just as broad, just as fearsome. They were similar in many ways, but where my mate was all darkness and quiet brooding, Talladais was light, his mood often easier than it had any reason to be. There were counterweights, perhaps, different sides to the same coin, but also different currencies. Vampire, Fae, Maker, Mate.
I'm a big fan. Such a fan.
I knew
I'm
we'd
here
get
for
you
it.
on board, Lord.
I'm already here for it. 100%. I never
On
saw.
board, she's a nail in the wood. Are you kidding me?
I'm getting
You know
what
what I
in the
mean?
world?
Oh, hey.
Who, what in the hoo-ha? What?
And the hoo-ha.
Okay. No, I was always okay with this being the direction the book went. I just didn't think that that's where Callie would take it. And she technically hasn't done that yet, but
Yet.
I just didn't see that for Kingfisher's character necessarily, but that doesn't mean that it can't be. And I would totally be here for it. In fact, my next note is just quote my mate and quote my maker and just a bunch of the hot sweat emojis. Just like I'm here
gosh.
for the first time she said my maker. Oh my God,
Yeah.
I literally died. I just died. I am dead.
Is that something she came up with or
I'm
something that he was
here
like, you
for it.
could call me your maker?
I don't know.
Lauren's like, I don't care.
Whichever.
Don't care.
Just keep calling him it.
I think it was this section, once I was like reading it through, I was like, okay, I'm assuming that this is now a why choose.
Yeah.
Not that I'm
Yes.
happy about it, but after I read it, I was just like, okay, this is clearly where this is headed. Like, she's just teeing it up very clearly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so
find out.
too.
Yeah.
I don't know if she will take it that way. Like, it can still change. But if I didn't know I was reading a book that was why choose, and this is how I started it, I would
Oh,
100% assume
Yeah.
that's what the rest of this book would be.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So
And then Talladais clenched his jaw.
we are so hydrated
Slacking
tonight.
on these. Wow.
And then there's the mention of the quote-unquote laws of the five. They say the laws of five must be obeyed. And I just had to note that was very interesting. We don't get a ton of information on that yet.
Yeah.
I had to jot down this phrase because I think this was the second time that this was used. None the worse for wear. And I just read that and I was just kind of like, I don't think I like it. So maybe it may be my new ministrations. I actually have another one later
Oh, yeah.
that could also turn
Yes.
into the same thing. So we'll
I
see
think
if
Kyle
she keeps
mentioned
using
that
these.
one in real life to me
Did I?
Yeah. So
when I saw
I
the
meant
other
to
note.
search the first book for that word, too.
Administrations.
We'll get
I don't.
there.
I
No,
don't
the
think
other
that
one.
one's in there. I feel like I would have remembered if that was in the first book. I would have.
We'll see.
I would
You
have.
don't think it's in the first book at all?
No.
Okay. Well, when we get there, I'll look it up.
Okay.
How much money? put a bet on it.
Oh.
I don't even know what word it is, but
$5? Bag of
I
peach
will
rings?
only bet in sexual favors. Thank you.
Whoa.
Off podcast, then. Okay.
What in her hoo-ha?
Listen. No? All right.
that's gaming the system.
Let's get to that note then. Kingfisher tries to bring solace to...
Faster.
Whoa.
Okay, I have another Carrion note. This is where I'm at. Kingfisher tries to bring solace to Saris before they go to the Hall of Tears, and Carrion says, "You can't be serious. That will absolutely ruin her outfit." He says, aghast, which is hilarious. But also, every time Carrion says or does something like this to influence the events of the book or like a choice that another character makes, I am wondering what he knows. It happens so many times just in this chapter section. It seems like he's intervening, even though it's just like a funny moment of banter. And I feel like it's intentional.
You have another one later, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
It seems like in this case, he just knows fashion, honey. He can't throw-
Yeah.
After the velvet tragedy of the prologue.
You can't pair a sword with that dress. Are
Yeah,
you
he's like-
serious?
Looking at that velvet like, what a tragedy. Ruined.
A full-length sword, please.
Come on now.
Please.
Well, onto whenever Kingfisher is now strapping a much smaller blade to her thigh and is, I believe, made of iron or silver or one of them. It brings up her mention that she is immune to iron and silver both, which is the weakness of Fae and the vampires respectively. And I was like, neat. In one way, but in another way I was like, because like, what is your weakness then? Sometimes when characters have these like
Brimstone.
like, oh, I'm immune to everything or whatever, I'm like, well, that's just no fun. Like, you gotta have something.
Love.
Yeah, and that's like the easy way out. I feel like if it's like,
Yeah.
Kingfisher's my weakness, I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
he also has none, so what are we gonna do there?
Since she's
Live
like Fae
forever.
and vampire now, but she's like not affected
Yeah.
by those things, does that mean that it would be like a human thing, like peanuts?
Yeah, just like a basic allergy. I can't handle
That's what does her
aluminium,
in.
actually.
Is this gluten free?
I hope she has something. It doesn't have to be like a major thing, obviously. Like,
Yes.
oh yeah, if you stab her in this kidney, it's instant death. But like, just something to have her be like, oh, this is like hard for me to do, or like I have to work at this or whatever. And I don't know. Maybe it's the
Yeah.
Quicksilver
No, I
itself
agree.
as an alchemist. But my next note was just when they were hearing the booms coming from the chamber in which this was meant to happen. They were cutting it really close on time. I said they got up to 4 big booms. If they got to
Wow.
5, it would have been over.
Or big boom.
Boom, boom.
Forgot about the boom.
Yes.
My favorite part about the booms in the last one was that you didn't get it, but all the comments we got of other people being like, boom, boom. I was like, okay, I feel so validated for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you if you were one of those people.
It still has never popped up on my algorithm. Like, I know you sent a video of it.
It was an older thing, even when we
Piece of
referenced it
culture.
last time. But
That's fair.
That's all right. Anyways, we finally get to the Hall of Tears, which, side note, Hall of Tears, I should live there. Just saying. But second of all, I just cry so much. I just feel like it fits. But anyways, and vampires, but that's his own thing. So when we finally get there and we're meeting the like 5 leaders, I guess.
Lords of Midnight.
Yes, the Lords of Midnight. Thank you. We meet Zovina for the first time. Saris is standing there with Kingfisher and Carrion. She says in her head, my brother would have fallen in love with her on sight. So my brother would have fallen in love with her on sight. And I just think that's interesting that she would mention Hayden here and not like Carrion, because like every other time we meet anybody, there's some comment about Carrion just in every single person and whatever.
True.
But we bring up Hayden here. And so it makes me wonder if this is like a foreshadowing moment
Yeah.
of Zovina and Hayden. So this is Dockmaster Lauren reporting for duty on one tiny comment at the chapter 1 that maybe is Hayden and Zovina love story. So
Yep.
You're
here
going
for it.
straight for a ship there, huh? That's
yeah,
interesting.
I'm here for it from the one line.
Wow.
I got it right with that one character who just turned around and looked at that other character in Throne of Glass.
Oh, true,
So
you did. Yeah.
just on
You
one
really
look.
did call that.
So I'm gonna go off one sentence.
All right.
I'm calling it.
I had the exact same thought. I was like, oh no, this is a
I know.
terrible pairing.
We don't know anything about either of them. Maybe they'll be great.
Well, other than Hayden is like a 12-year-old boy who's always getting into trouble and never listening to anyone. And then Sovina's like, my father will be hearing about this. She's basically Draco.
I want it now. Veruca, no.
Maybe they'll be perfect together. And just to be clear,
Maybe.
Hayden is not actually 12,
No.
but she's probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, which makes it Seem like he is. I don't know.
You know, we initially thought that Carrion and Daniel wouldn't work out, but I mean...
No,
I'm here for
Kyle.
that too.
It is.
It's not happening yet.
It is headed.
It is if it's up to
straight there.
Daniel.
Headed there. Much faster than I thought. We'll get to that later.
They are on
Very
the A train to B
On the
town.
F train.
B-Town. Ew.
Yeah. Bangtown, right?
You're going to bring boners back into this.
Yeah, I mean, just straight off to Bonerville, I guess.
I hardly know where.
Just got off the boner train.
Boner.
Sausage
Hardly
fest
knew
in
her.
there.
Okay.
Okay.
The last line of chapter 1 is Sarah saying, I am no child. My name is Sarah Fae, and I am your queen. And I wrote, hell yeah.
Tell him.
So, chapter 2, Hall of Tears. This is Sarah's POV. Zovina is already speaking. It says, whatever soul she might once have possessed had fled the shell of her body long ago. A dark, cruel thing crouched inside of her now, peering out of her wide, pretty eyes, using her voice to speak. And just thinking about this as vampires, my thought here led me to, it's just really interesting that they have survived and, dare I say, quote unquote, flourished for this long, like being what they are. Like, how have they even found, let alone sustained, the resources they've needed to survive? Because it seems like they've not transformed, but like changed most of the Fae in Evalia to feeders. It doesn't seem like they're making new ground anywhere, especially with the standoff at the Darn. So it's just kind of like, how are they feeding? Are they just like recycling? I don't know what's going on here. I just thought it was really weird that they have been able to, like I said, kind of survive and be flourishing in their own capacity, I guess. But
I
I
have
thought that was interesting.
no idea. I actually have some more questions here because it's noted that the Lords of Midnight all have this gold ring with a purple stone. It is a source of power gifted to them by Malcolm. Each supposedly contains the same amount of magic, though it's rumored that Tal's is the most powerful because he was Malcolm's favorite or whatever. So calling this a source of power just makes me think of the triumvirate saying that they all shared the same source and that they all had to die for one of them to die. But then John and I had a really interesting conversation about this, so I put his note in here too.
Yes. My question here was, do the rings still hold power now that Malcolm is dead? At this point, I'm assuming that, well, yeah, that's another thing too, though, Lauren. I mean,
Quote, dead.
is he dead?
Yeah.
If they still do hold power, what's the source? Because it feels like Malcolm probably is not the source. So there's something else going on. Don't know what it is.
Yeah. I didn't really think anything of this at the time, but after reading your guys' notes and thinking too about how paranoid Malcolm was, it just feels like, did he Horcrux himself into these rings?
Yeah.
Like,
That
is
was my
this
mentioned that too.
his
Yeah.
power? Is he still, is that how he's still like alive technically, is through this or something? I don't know.
And that would make a good argument for what they said about him, Belicon, and Madra. You would need to kill all three of us.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a good reason for that. If one of them died, then their soul or magic or whatever would split between the other two. So you need to just make sure all of them are dead to destroy all of them.
It's also interesting knowing that something like a ring can hold power that someone could potentially wield. Like, it was rumored that Tal's was the most powerful because he seemed to be the most powerful. But in the beginning of Quicksilver, the first time we see Madra, it's noted that she's like absentmindedly twisting a gold bracelet around her wrist. And these are gold rings. It made me want to go back and look at the descriptions of Belicon and Malcolm to see if either of them had some sort of like gold jewelry on or something like that.
Does Heron have any sort of jewelry of some sort on too?
Remember.
Maybe he's one of those past alchemists that made these things, because then
he's
you could
like
put power into
gauntlets.
them.
Yeah.
All the guards they were like all decked out in gold.
Yeah.
Kyle, what did you say? Did I miss that?
I was just saying, if a past alchemist made those items, then that would have been like an easy way to explain how power got into them.
True.
While we are also in the Hall of Tears, we learn about the Lords of Midnight, but also their titles, that they are keepers of something. And Khan kind of went over those in the pronunciation guide. I'm like really interested in the job
Misters?
descriptions of those necessarily. Like,
Yeah.
they are so specific
Yeah.
as of things. Keeper of silence. Like, what?
I want
do you
to
do
know
with
what the
that?
hell the even light is. Because isn't that the
yeah.
name of the celebration that was about to happen in Zilvarin?
Oh, was it?
Even light?
Yeah.
But we don't know what it is. It was just like, oh yeah, something, couple weeks until even light.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's dead now, so that party's over.
So the even light's gone, I guess, because nobody's keeping
Yeah.
it. Does somebody just like step up and replace them automatically? Like, will there be a new keeper of the even
Yeah.
light, or will Saris have to appoint one?
And is this, like John mentioned earlier, the laws of the 5 must be followed. Are these the 5? They have the laws?
Yes.
Right?
I assume so, yeah.
So what laws are we making?
You would have to ask the keeper of the missives that, because that's what their job would be, is keeping track of the laws and the letters, sort of like a mailman, a royal mailman.
Keeper of the records, keeper of silence.
Zovina.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Zovina.
even like,
His
and
missives.
Taladeus is keeper of secrets. So like knows a bunch. I would love
Yeah.
to sit down and have a chat with him
Yeah.
for many
You
reasons.
would.
But I'd love to know all the things he knows.
Well, and the Hazrax just makes me laugh because I feel like they just made up a title for it.
Yeah,
You could be keeper of the silence, and you could shut up.
we're not going to say anything.
Real original name they gave him there.
Yeah.
Hazrax
gonna
or
ask,
Keeper of Silence?
Yeah, the Keeper of Silence.
Oh.
If he's going to be a lord, what control should we give him? He's awfully quiet. Ah, I got it.
As soon as like a silence is broken, they look at him like, Azrax, what are you
Do
doing?
something.
Do something. Oh man. Well, speaking of Zovana's rant, what we were talking about earlier, I honestly think she had close to valid points about letting some random woman show up and become the ruler of their
100%.
kingdom. But in the law's defense, I mean, if that's what the law says, it's a broken system, and you should have complained about
Yeah.
this long before it happened. Long before that loophole was used, you should have been like, wait, anybody could just kill this guy and they're the ruler? Like, that seems...
Well, and if Malcolm made the rules, like
Right.
that's why he's living in paranoia the whole time, because just anybody could kill him and
Yeah.
become
Yeah.
king. But he decided that.
Yeah.
Like,
Anyone who kills me will be king or queen. Oh, God, what if someone kills me?
what have I done?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, because, like, what if she happened to not get mortally injured? She just happened to get lucky and kill him
Yep.
as
As a human.
As a human, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what were they going to do? Well, it's like, well, the law says.
Yeah. And also just thinking of, like, whoever kills me is going to be made the new ruler. I'm going to give you 5 incredible power. Don't kill me with it. Like, I know that's the first thing you think of that. I don't know what he did to earn any sort of loyalty that they were like, okay, well, I'll kill you and I'll be ruler. Because clearly they're all power hungry.
Right.
I mean, Tal was enthralled or whatever.
True.
So
They
he
could have
had to do
done
whatever
that.
he did. So it could have been the others
Yeah.
like that too, except for maybe the Hazrax.
I guess it would have made sense that he, like, made most of the high bloods,
Right. Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
At least the originals, because Tal
Yeah.
has made some as well. But like,
Yeah.
Malcolm was the first vampire, so
Yep.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Parks and Rec, where he asks about Ron Swanson's will. Just had to look it up because it says, upon my death, all of my belongings shall transfer to the man or animal who has killed me.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of symbols. I just,
man
Yeah, he
or
says-
animal.
Yeah, and he says that they'll understand or something.
Yeah,
they'll
no.
know.
Oh, no, yeah.
So, AKA Malcolm's will.
Yes. Does that mean that Malcolm secretly plays the saxophone on the side?
Oh, my gosh.
Duke Quicksilver.
Quicksilver! I'm
Oh
here for
my
that. I'm so here for that. Oh, that's good.
Wow. Okay, speaking of Zovina and Malcolm, Zovina keeps referring to Malcolm as her father, but then she also says, on behalf of my brothers and sisters. So is this just another weird thing where, like, they all refer to each other as relatives, even though they're not literally? Because I am still not convinced that, like, Madra, Belicon, and Malcolm are related, even though they keep calling each other brother and sister.
I think it is the non-relational.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the whole,
Referring
like,
to-
we were created by the same thing, so we call
Yeah.
each other brothers
Yeah.
and sisters.
Yeah, and I think that makes sense with the vampires, but I still don't know why Malcolm and Belicon would also
Right.
be included in
that-
that
yeah,
unless
sisters
they
in
were
arms.
actually siblings. Maybe.
Yeah, because Malcolm was the first vampire, so unless they're saying that Malcolm, Belicon, and Madra were all created by the same thing. But we still don't technically know what Madra even is.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. Just keeping an eye on it like the Hazrax, Kyle.
My note was mostly visual, but I'll describe it. I just put, does Hazrax look like this to anyone else? And I put a picture of like your classic gray alien, because it just describes, gray skin, big black eyes, little tiny slit for a mouth. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is like the Area 51 dude, like the little alien that you always see running around. I don't know what you guys are picturing, but...
Well, now I'm picturing
I don't
this.
know.
So.
Sorry.
See, I put at the bottom of all of this conversation what I think the Hazrax looks like, and to me, it looks like the Greendale human being. The mascot from Greendale Community College, where it's just that guy in a white morph suit with like Sharpied on eyes and a creepy mouth.
The Sharpie that poisons him. He's like constantly breathing it in.
That's the Hazrax, the Greendale human being.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes, it's our ethically neutral mascot. And then when I was looking up for a GIF of this, the next line in it was the dean saying, "Well, we solved racism today. What's next?"
Wow.
I'm like super intrigued by this thing. Yeah. I think it's going to play like a really important part in her role as queen. Like I'm pretty sure of it. But I was just questioning like, what is this thing? Like, where did it come
What
from?
are you?
Yep.
Sorry.
I actually trolled John's note too, because he wrote, "But what is it and where did it come from?" And I wrote, "And where did it go? Where did it come from?" Cotton Eye Joe.
And I wrote, "No, absolutely fucking not." Stop right there. It goes on to say the creature's appearance was terrifying enough without wondering how it could just exist here like this, a constant unsettling presence. And that made me think if maybe it's a god in disguise or possibly god made.
I thought the same thing.
So we'll see.
Yeah, it's in my theories later.
Oh.
Nice. Sweet. And we'll talk about it more.
Yeah.
God's Watch. Okay, so this is my other note about Carrion, like stepping in to intervene when things are happening. So Saris locks eyes with the Hazrax and suddenly starts seeing like all of her own memories play out. Like it seems like the Hazrax is sifting through her mind almost, or maybe just seeing everything that she's seeing. So she's in this like trance almost, but then Carrion says, "Do you think I can smoke in here?" And it totally snaps her out of it. So I don't know how Carrion would have known that this is happening unless he's like read about the Hazrax before and he's going to come in with some knowledge about it later. But I just feel like he knew that was happening and he needed to distract her to stop it. And so he came in with another
because it's
like
just a random
banter.
thing for him to say.
Yeah.
I wonder what Carrion's magic is now that he's fully Fae.
Boners.
And he has Simon.
If he has, some sort of magic. I don't know. What'd you say, Kyle?
Don't worry about it. John heard me, and that's all that matters.
Oh, no.
All right.
Was it a dick joke?
Is it about magic in the bedroom?
Hit it right on. Hit it right on the head.
Okay, next note.
Okay, so Kingfisher agrees to let Saris drink from him in front of everyone. And I wrote, this seems like a terrible idea. Like, why were either of them, first of all, why was this his idea? And second, why was she so quick to agree to do it? Like, with all the implications of this, like knowing that Everlane was enthralled. I know they're mates, so it's different than just like a regular vampire biting a fae because they're mates.
But she wasn't
or they're
turning
godbound.
him.
That's what I mean. Like, but still, it's just like, this seemed like a really, really bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, they decided to do it within like 2 paragraphs, and I'm like, guys, what are we doing?
I mean,
He just
he wasn't going to let
rescheduled
her
the
bite anyone
coronation.
else.
That's
I
true.
mean, that's
Like,
that's very
He wasn't
true.
just going to let her do that to someone else. Yeah, that was
just like,
definitely
"Bite
not
me,"
it.
and
Especially
she
after
goes,
what we learned with Lorith and how like personal that is
Yeah.
for the Fae. But
So was he doing it for selfish reasons, or?
I mean, probably. But
Little column A, little
I mean,
column
because
B.
obviously we find out that she like dosed him. We find out like what
Yeah.
that essentially did to him. But yeah, I don't know, man. This was just like this was a situational red flag for me for both of them. I was just like, what the hell are you guys doing right now? Why do you think this is a good idea?
No, it's all part of the plan from earlier.
Yeah, that's right.
the
Yep.
plan,
Yeah,
yes.
the plan.
she's just nervous about it. But like while Saris is going to bite from Kingfisher, Zovina says, "But how can a member of the living feed on the living?" And I'm like, isn't this what Kingfisher did? Like all of the last book, whenever they were being besties. Like, it wasn't like sustaining him, but it was like he still bit her multiple times.
Oh,
Yeah,
see
but I
what
think
you
he
mean.
was
and,
only
like-
dosing her, right? Not feeding from her.
Like, I mean, I guess it did explain that last
I
time.
don't know.
Because it was saying, like, he bites you and, like, it gets into your blood and it drives you crazy.
Oh.
So hot and bothered.
Euphoria.
Crazy.
You don't even know, bro. You'll be chasing that first high forever.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Okay. Maybe, yeah, if he wasn't actually drinking her blood.
Yeah.
But that was like, he's literally bit her multiple times. Like,
Yeah.
why is this a weird thing? But I guess, yeah, if she was drinking, I don't know. I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah. I assume she doesn't know how to control fully the whole dosing
Right.
versus drinking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
She didn't
not.
even know she did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he, like, didn't explain it to her or whatever, like he said. So maybe that is what was happening in book 1, was that he was just dosing her,
Maybe.
but we don't know
That's
that.
what I would assume, but yeah, I don't know for sure.
Okay. That makes more sense, I guess.
Well, as ridiculous as this was that they agreed to it, I was also not mad about it happening in general.
Big
Not at
surprise.
all.
So Fisher's mind speaking to Sarah's here and says, "You can own your fantasies with me, little Osha. There is nothing in this realm or the next that I won't give to you if you desire it. All you ever need to do is ask." Put the Golden Girls gif in here. They're like spraying herself with water. Is it hot in here? But actually, this was insane. And I put the quote in here of Sarah's, like, after she bites him, realizing that she's not taking anything from him, that she was giving something to him. And she's like trying to figure out what was going on. But it says, "I blinked as black ink shifted beneath Fisher's skin, pouring like water down his arm. It banded his wrist and then disappeared, transferring to me." And then she ends up with this like line below her collarbone, which is just what. And she's like, "But I didn't care about the ink." And I'm like, okay, I do. I just don't want to know what this means. And then Aerith proclaims, "She is leashed by the blood, bound to it as we all are. There can be no question of her commitment to our people now." And I wrote, uh-oh.
Yeah. Because even later, she's like, "I don't need it, but I want it." I was like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go.
Chasing that high forever.
I need it.
And I thought it was interesting too that it was such a simple tattoo. That seemed super odd.
Yeah.
Because everything has been super intricate up to this point. So far, a lot of them have been like based on their, I guess, their growing bond and like their relationship. This one almost seems like it's more of a contract, if that makes
Or
sense.
like a
because it's just,
Because it's just a straight line
no.
like here, right?
Yeah.
Is what I was
yeah,
picturing?
because I don't know. I pictured it just being like, I don't know what other word to use. Other
It's like
than
a show
some
of her
kind
being
contract
bound?
or something. Yeah, I don't know.
I was
Or like a
wondering,
fill
like, do you
line.
think that I am this
She
close?
drinks- I'm drinking enough blood. I'm all the way.
Oh my god.
It has a little ML beside it.
It's like, what does it say? Like, do not overfill. Or
Yeah,
what is-
do not overfill.
Max fill line.
max fill line. That's what it is.
Not
yeah.
microwave safe.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
But
Well,
do you
and then sorry,
wait,
go
do
ahead.
you think that she'll continue getting more of those though? Like if she like feeds from him again at some point, do you think it would result in more ink?
My guess would be no, because I feel like that was an initial
You never forget your first kind of a thing.
like kind of how Aerith said, like she's leashed now, she's bound by the blood. That's where I think the whole like contract thing is coming into play.
I just took it as another, like how when Kingfisher and her had sex for the first time and she had the bird or like some of his other ink transferred from him to her. Mm-hmm. I guess I was thinking of it more just a Kingfisher Saris thing, less a vampire thing.
But I don't think the god bindings move. There's something
Yeah, I don't think-
specific about like some of the ink moves and some of it doesn't.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what it means.
I know. So a little bit
hot.
more to that. So the last line after she's drank his blood and she kind of like takes in the Hall of Tears again. She says, "Suddenly, crushingly, the Hall of Tears had become beautiful." And I was freaking out. I was like, there's something much deeper at work when she drank from him here. Like Aerith mentioned her commitment now. I fear that her doing this linked her need and purpose to their cause and will bind her actions in some way. And I also, from this, I actually have a hot take that I will get to in my theories.
Hot takes.
Hot dicks.
Oh,
Get your hot dicks here. No, take two.
Wow. 2. Wow.
Max Phil here.
Fill her up.
Oh my god.
Guys,
That was good.
we don't have to put this in here, but I saw a wild TikTok today. It was like an animation of like a chef or something pouring frosting on a gingerbread man.
Oh, I've seen that GIF. Yes. Yes, I've seen it.
And it was like Saris was the gingerbread man, and yeah.
And then the chef is just like putting so much icing.
It's like yeah.
Covers the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen it.
I was like, wow, okay.
I liked
that
it
was-
from the BPNF account. I was like, oh yeah, that's funny.
that's why I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'll find it and send it to you.
Just go to your likes.
Anyway, but in the next chapter, Kingfisher like kind of talks about the whole dosing situation and whatever with Lorth and Renfist, and he talks about her maybe like clearly being almost like high off of the blood and her having that moment. So I'm hoping that her seeing the Hall of Tears and New Light was just this weird high that she was
Gotcha.
on, and
Like
it's
it'll wear
not
off.
going to end up being something horrible and bad.
Yeah.
But obviously nothing's off the table. And yeah, we're at the beginning of the book, so it probably
Yikes.
is a horrible and bad thing, but you know.
All right, that takes us into chapter 3, Dose. Not 2, but
Trace.
DOSE.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3,
Chapter
Dose.
three. Stop
Wait,
confusing.
that doesn't seem
What?
right. My lord. 3. Kingfisher POV, but I had to note this is exactly what I have been wanting, or when I said that I wanted more like action sword fighting stuff from Kingfisher in particular. But this is when he takes down Aerith. My hand closed around Nimmerel's hilt. In a beat, the sword was gone. I hurled her with all my might. The honed metal cut through the air, spinning end over end, arcing at the last minute and slicing straight through Aerith's torso on a diagonal, cleaving him in two. Nimmerel landed point first, juddering, the blade bearing 5 inches deep into the obsidian dais. I was just like, oh yeah, dude. Oh, this was amazing. This is exactly the kind of stuff that I want in this book. More,
I was
more,
freaking
please.
out here too. I cannot wait to see this on screen. I hope we get a deal for Brimstone as well. Because if Quicksilver
Yes.
happens, if they truly make it, it's contracted to be a movie, right? Currently,
I think so.
that's gonna pop off. Oh my.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll show you the scene from Rob Roy. This is
Okay.
mostly that. Kyle, have you seen that movie? Mm-mm. All right.
No.
That's all right.
Is that like Kill Bill but different?
No,
But different. Is it like Hot Rod but different?
definitely not.
But it's different.
So it's the same.
Yes, it's the same as Hot Rod.
Right. Okay.
Okay. There was a little mention here of some of the high bloods in the Hall of Tears, right? Wearing black tabards with blood red dragons depicted on them. And my note was, dragons?
2 dragons.
And I actually
Probably three
added to this after seeing Connor's note. I was like, I wonder if they consider dragons as part of their gods. That'd be kind of interesting.
Interesting. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Also interesting. What? Did you
I was
have
just going to
another
say, I think those 3 were the 3 that they mentioned were Aerith's like bodyguards or something, which I also thought was kind of interesting.
It must be pretty useless then.
Well, yeah,
See him get bisected. Uh-oh.
I'm fired.
Well, no, it is interesting because they all are like religious zealots and they worship
True.
one of the demon gods or whatever is what
Oh,
Aerith and
that's
his people were
right.
described
Yeah,
by.
that's right.
So that could go with this
Forgot that detail.
different gods thing.
I want to know about the gods. Ah,
You want to know about the gods?
I know.
I would have
Shocking.
never guessed.
This was interesting, though, to learn about Taladeus. It says even before he transitioned, Tal had been able to manipulate most liquids. All liquids, in fact, apart from Quicksilver. Blood was a liquid, and right now he was boiling the blood in the high blood's veins. And I just
He's a
wrote,
bloodbender.
whoa, a bloodbender.
Yeah.
But that's
not a good
interesting,
thing.
too, that even before he transitioned, he could manipulate liquids. Is that like I know that there are like lesser magics that the Fae have, but he was Fae before, right?
I think so.
That's crazy. Is that just like
Pretty crazy.
So then
I mean, Renfis has really cool power that he can do with his cool light things, orbs, whatever.
Oh, the orbs.
Like
Yeah,
they're
that's right.
they're
Okay,
really cool.
okay.
That's what I'm saying with like Carrion. Like, does he have
Yeah.
some sort of cool power that we just haven't seen yet?
Okay.
You know, if it's somewhat a normal thing.
Okay. I guess I wasn't connecting that because I kept thinking like it was like a god sword thing because of like the angel's breath. But so the god swords could have their own power separate from, you know,
Yeah.
but Fae could have their own like signet, if you want to call it that. They have their own little like signature power or something. Okay. Yeah, that was super interesting to me. Okay, and then Aerith, as he's dying, says she is anathema, cursed. The gods denounce her. And then he says, "You fool, we have different gods." And that, Lauren, I know you put this quote in here too, but I want to know.
Yeah, this is where I like put the part from chapter 2 where it's describing Aerith and his people and just said he and his followers are religious zealots. They worship one of the demon gods. So I would assume that's not part of the Corcoran that we
No.
know about. And then it's one of the demon gods. So therefore, how many demon gods are there?
Well, and he says we have different gods, plural. So if
The vampire?
I would assume, like
Maybe.
we in Sanisroth have different gods, but like he specifically worships one of them, and his followers do too. Is that what
Isn't
that
there
sounds like?
the 5 levels of hell or whatever?
9.
True.
So,
maybe there's 5. No,
Maybe
for real.
there's 5 gods or something? Yeah. The assistant to the regional devil.
Yeah. Maybe
do
they're
think
not
it's-
understaffed.
I did read this as more of like a funny response too, because like if they have different gods, it is very much like the gods denouncer. It'd be like different gods, idiot. Like I don't care about your gods.
But the
My gods
implications
don't
of
denounce
that-
her.
I
Yeah.
mean, Zareth changed her so that she couldn't be seen by the Corcoran, but does that mean that other gods could potentially still
Good point.
interfere?
Possibly.
And we know the Corcoran went on vacation or whatever, and they're not here. But does that mean that these other gods are still hanging out and still around or
I
whatever?
don't believe they're on vacation still, honestly.
I don't either, but they're
No.
gone on a walk or a
their
journey or
pilgrimage
whatever
on
it
a
said.
walk.
Yes.
They've switched sides. They're now the demon gods.
They do it every once in a while just to shake things up.
They got transferred.
Yeah. My only note about this was like, I thought it was so silly of Aerith to argue against Sylvina just to pretty much do the exact same thing. Like,
Yeah.
he was like shutting her down, like, oh, how dare you make a mockery of the courts or whatever. And then as soon as he got a chance, he's like, haha, just kidding. I was also wanted to kill you.
I think he was trying
That's
to
very true.
trick them into trusting him.
I
so he could
guess.
get close.
But, yeah.
This is just a note on the magic in this world and how crazy it is to me. The first time that it like really blew my brain was with Lorith's song and how
Oh,
the
yeah.
Quicksilver just took the song and it just no longer exists and stuff. And so it's just interesting here that she's been crowned for like 0.2 seconds and she just says something and it like shakes the whole room and it's just law and they have to follow it. It
Yep.
is like required. And it's just wild.
I
how
wish I could do that with
quickly-
my toddlers.
What would be the first law you'd make?
Oh, gosh.
What'd you say?
I was just asking, what would be the first law you would make if you could do that? Because she said she wanted to do it with her toddlers.
Oh, I just mean for them to like
you? I thought you
listen
meant
to
me.
me.
Oh, gotcha.
Like
Just
put your
joking.
shoes on and I don't have to say it 800 times because they just ignore me and be like,
gotcha.
Sure.
I gotta put my shoes on
been
now.
there.
You know,
Am there, actually.
still waiting for them to put their shoes on.
It's been days.
That's funny. Okay, well, I only just put this little side note here about Ren. This is Dockmaster Lauren showing up again, where it just says he, being Ren, seemed to have taken it upon himself to make sure Everlane made a full recovery as possible. I'm like, oh, he's so in love
He
with her.
is. Ugh.
He's so in love. It's unfortunate for
not
him because I don't
evil.
trust her. But hopefully it'll all work out and be great. But he's so in love.
In love.
And I feel like Kingfisher has to see that. It's interesting to me
yeah.
having Kingfisher's POV and him talking about it and him not like even making a single comment on him potentially thinking his friend has feelings for his sister. But whatever.
It's also probably been happening for so long. I would assume that's just part of his life.
I mean, but he's been gone for 100 and something years,
Yeah.
so who knows?
That's true. This was super interesting here to learn that Taladeus was the one who turned Foley, especially knowing that Fisher agreed to let Taladeus do this again to save Ceres. That feels like an even bigger deal to me now learning that he knew that Tal was the one who turned Foley.
Yep.
I added to that because I feel like this is a huge deal. Like, I feel like it's one of those details that can easily be forgotten just because we're getting so much info here. Especially when Fisher says that what they believed at the time was that Malcolm was the only one capable of turning someone with their personalities and minds intact, which makes it sound like they discovered that Tal could also do that, like from this situation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
When they didn't know that he could do that before. So like I've got my eye on Tal like big time.
You don't trust him?
No, because I think this is like, that seems like a really big deal.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you think of literally all the High Bloods, like now we're not sure how many Malcolm made and how many Tal made. Because they don't just, if Tal made them, they don't just turn into feeders like some of the other High Bloods do.
True.
Like if Tal is able to make more High Bloods, then how many of their entire like place did he make with Malcolm?
Do you think that maybe that's part of his history and drama with Zovina? Do you think that maybe he turned her?
Well, oh yeah, possibly.
Because didn't they say something about how she was in love with him once or something?
And he was with her for
Yeah.
a while. Yeah.
Could be.
But it could be interesting if he has turned so many and if they're enthralled to Tal, if he ends up using that in some way,
Yep.
Yeah.
good or bad or whatever.
Well, I guess if Zovina is calling Malcolm her father, then
He
be a
probably
trick.
made her.
he probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most likely. But
yes.
yeah, I think this is going to be a big deal later on.
Oh, that's wild. This was just a really sweet, again, I really miss these characters, but I thought this was so sweet between Renfis and Lorith. So they were bringing up, I think this is when they were talking about Taladeus, because Renfis like clearly does not trust him. And he was like clearly thinking something, but didn't want to say it. And Renfis said, I have nothing new to say on the matter. And then Lorith finally set Avisiath down, leaning back in his chair and resting his cup of ale against the flat of his stomach. Then say what you've said already and we'll hear you out again. I just love that between them. That was very sweet. A solid friendship moment, Callie. And then here at the end of this chapter, they're talking about how Foley's grandfather was, of course, one of the last alchemists, and they need his knowledge because Belicon burned all the alchemist texts when he seized the crown. And then, quote, the few books that my father, being Fisher's father, Finran, collected back at the library in college don't explain much of anything. And I was really super bummed when I first read this because I was like, that cannot possibly be true. But now that I'm reading it back, it says the few books that my father collected at the library in college didn't explain much of anything. But there was a mention in Quicksilver about how Finran spent decades researching, but that was on the blood curse, right? I don't know that that would have had anything to do with the alchemists.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's right.
I think when I first read this, I was thinking this was like Finran's research wasn't actually useful. And I was like, wait a minute.
Maybe Foley hid some or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. Or rewrote them if he remembered stuff. I would imagine we are meeting Foley in this book.
Yeah,
and
I would think so.
I'll be interested to see what we learn from that, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I don't like that all the rulers are erasing all the alchemists and alchemist knowledge. It's driving me crazy. I just want to know.
classic fantasy trope.
Classic.
Where the evil are just burning all the texts.
One
and
generation to erase
history
the
and-
text.
Yes. Okay, well, that takes us to chapter 4, which is called 114, Kingfisher. And Kyle asked earlier, like, what do you guys think the Hazrax looks like? And we put in some things. So I put in, how does everyone else see these feeders walking into this battle where they're all walking in sync and stuff? And I put just like a quick little video of, it's, those like, those things where it's like one actual person and they're connected to a bunch of poles that connect them to like a bunch of mannequins. So
like
when
a
they move
street
their
performer.
arm. Yeah. So it's like when they move one arm, all the mannequins move their arm too. And the other way, that whole thing. Anyways. And so, yeah, it's like a little street performer doing a dance. And they all move together in sync.
Yeah.
It's like perfect. That's these 8 feeders walking into this battle. They all slip in the mud together, the whole bit.
I definitely didn't think that. I did think that when it was talking about like they were so still and then their head twitched and then their shoulders moved and then they stepped, I was like, they're doing Thriller. They're doing the Thriller dance. They're doing like, they're going to go.
That's exactly it.
Ding, 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 ding.
Start clapping.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
I could just picture Michael Jackson leading them down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is just It is a wild thing, though, that
Yeah.
they're like so perfectly in sync, even when they like fall and get hurt, or when the magic goes in one and gets in all of them. Like, however, like obviously we don't know anything really about what's happening there, but it is a really cool magic to be done, even though it's bad for our characters that we are seeing here. It's really neat.
They saw that the last one failed, and so the next person was like, you know what we were missing? Choreography. Everyone needs to have their steps down.
It's a musical, a musical.
Oh my gosh. And they're coming across the Darn, so it's like synchronized swimming almost.
Yes,
It's
Olympic gold medal.
It's the feeders on ice.
They're getting ready for the Fae Olympics. You know, we have those at the Avalian Rec Center,
yeah.
you know, getting ready and stuff.
Yep.
These are the ones from
practicing.
Sanisroth. Or
Interesting.
Silvarin, I guess. Yes.
Oh, the Sylvarin team. Oh, no. Okay, on that note, one of the feeders was described as having arms covered in runes. And I thought this was especially interesting after learning that they are human, because they would have been, they would have been basically marked after being turned or being brought to Sylvarin or Evalia. I don't know.
I mean,
Unless it's
Net
like
there.
those things where people still get tattoos over there and they don't know what the runes mean, but it's like, oh, it just says egg roll. You got tricked. Those runes don't say anything important.
That was like my...
no, I would assume that's what's making them weirdly connected.
Yeah.
Since it's something different than just the regular feeders they see.
But did they all have arms
I
covered
think
in
that
runes?
It was just that one. I think that was explicitly
don't know.
described to have them anyway.
Yeah, that's what I
So
thought.
maybe
was
that's the one they
interesting,
need to like kill, and then they'll all die. Like they're all connected to it or
but-
something.
Oh,
Or like ruin the runes, like somehow.
this whole evening is ruined. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the feeders, like taking the magic, like I was saying earlier, is wild. But I think what really made me actually scared, I think, for these as potential like bad guys that they have to fight, if assuming there would be more of them, is when Nimarel, the sword, screamed. I'm like, what is going on? The god sword is freaking the freak out. And then also having read the bonus chapters and knowing that the spirit of Morel is in the sword,
Oh,
is that mean that something is happening to Morel? Like actually to Morel? And like, is like homegirl okay in there? Or like what? Like what does
Well,
that mean?
she left whatever was left of her soul in the sword. So if it can siphon the magic from them, could it also be? Did it siphon off part of her soul?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like that's what I'm
Scream
saying.
it
Like
too.
that's
I mean, at least
I
the boy
know.
seemed okay later, so hopefully her
I mean,
soul,
they said
the
they
sword
felt
could
off
recover.
and
Yeah.
weird,
Yeah.
but
Ugh. I didn't think about
Yeah.
that. Wild, hard turn to my next note is when we see Danya for the first time.
poor Tanya. This is so bad. You're laughing. This is so horrible.
And it's so bad. And the quote is, and her hair? Daylena had done her best to soothe the angry burns all over Danya's body, but her long pale hair was gone, leaving only singed stubble behind. And I wrote, first the tiny hand. Now she's Cynthia from the Rugrats. Callie has to hate this bitch too.
Oh my gosh.
That's all I'm picturing.
Aw. I mean, later when it describes her hair, it sounds not horrible. Like,
No, it sounds more
They
Imogen.
figured it out a
it
little
sounds
bit.
Imogen. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
giving Imogen. And that's not bad. If anything, I feel like that fits Danya. But
Oh, that I just can't stop seeing her as the Cynthia doll now. She's really going through it. But yes, this we just talked about this a little bit, but Ren saying that he feels connected to the feeders and like they're trying to still siphon off more power from him is really freaky. But I was wondering if this was because of like I was trying to figure out why these feeders would be new somehow, and like it sounds like they were sent there, but I kept thinking back to like, was it from something that Sarah said when she was making these new like edicts and stuff? Because her, like you were talking about, her word was like immediately law. So I didn't know if her saying something, and I think I have another note about this when we find this out in chapter 5, but if it was even her saying that like, that no harm would come to her friends or something. And then we find out that these feeders are from Zilvarin, and she didn't seem to explicitly recognize any of them. But I'm like, what is the definition of like her friends? And so I don't know. It was just sending me into a little tailspin there. But this was the question I was thinking of earlier. Did we know that Taladeus was the one to enthrall Everlane? Was this new information, or did we know that in Quicksilver?
I believe it. I think it was new. I thought
'Cause
it was
I-
Malcolm.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought
Same.
too. Okay, that feels like a really
I
big
don't
deal.
think we knew this.
I know. Whenever I saw this note, I was like, that's not true. She read that wrong. I like went back and I was like, how did I miss that? Like, what?
That's why, I read it and I was like, why is nobody talking about this?
Yeah, totally missed that one sentence. I thought it was Malcolm. Or
That
maybe we're
does-
made it was Malcolm, but
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like Malcolm did much. Like, yeah, he did like
That's
a lot at the
true.
beginning, but it sounds like he just hid away, scared of people.
Forced
for really
Tal
long
to
time.
do everything for him.
How you run an MLM. Bite 5 people, tell them to bite 5 more, and then you get all the benefits.
Multi-level midnight kisses.
My one and only note from this chapter is a red flag for Kingfisher to when he was talking to Renfis, where,
Guys, he made it to chapter 4 before he got a red flag. I'm so proud of him.
to be fair, this is like his second POV chapter, so
And that's on character development.
you know what? We'll give it where it's due. But Renfis was sort of like coming to Kingfisher about Tal and being like, why would you not stop him? Or like, why would you let him do this or not tell me at least? And Kingfisher says, and I quote, "I'm sorry, I know there can never be anything but bad blood between you and him, but you've never been bound by a curse, brother. You've never been forced to act against your will, and you've never been so in love with someone that you'd sell your soul to the devil to protect them. I pray that when you find your mate, you fall in love. You'll know nothing but everlasting peace with them, but for others, it isn't that simple." And I read that, and I like immediately thought that it was more important for Kingfisher to recognize Renfis's experience as also being real. Like, from his perspective, the hurt he experienced is not softened by this context. Pain can exist, even when harm is not intentional, and trust doesn't rebuild just because he learns the cause of his pain. It's not going to be like, oh, okay, that makes sense, everything's better. And both can be true. Taladeus can have a struggle, Renfis can have boundaries. And the most helpful step would be to shift from defending Taladeus to validating Renfis's experience along with Taladeus, because healing rarely comes from winning an argument, but often begins when every person feels seen. Kingfisher.
Wow. Excellent.
I feel like saying his name a little sassy at the end kind of lost you a little bit on that, but other than that.
But yeah, I hope
That's
that, like,
good.
I know that Kingfisher is really good friends with Taladeus. Probably he might argue better friends with him than anyone else because of that shared experience. But I hope that it does not, hope that it does not, like, denigrate his other relationships, because I feel like Kingfisher might be defending Taladeus, but possibly defending his own actions by saying this. Because, like, he's excusing Taladeus' actions. This is the same way he would excuse his own if someone came at him. But he probably wouldn't to himself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get that.
Chapter 5 is called Dead Stock. It is a Ceres POV. And this was when Kingfisher and I think it's Lorith come to Sanisroth, and they bring all the heads of all of those feeders. And Kingfisher tries to kick Carrion out, like, right away. And Carrion sheepishly lowers his dagger and says that it stands to reason that I should get to stay here too. I'm the heir of the Yavilian throne. If there have been any developments that affect Yavalia, I should be present when they're discussed. And I feel like that's completely valid. Like, Carrion is the next, I guess, I would assume, in line for the throne. It seems that that's how that works for Yavalia, since it doesn't seem like that's obviously how it works for Sanisroth or whatever. But later, like maybe 2 paragraphs later, we hear that Carrion doesn't even want the throne. He says, like, specifically that he's not, like, trying to take his seat as in the throne. So it's like, I guess I just don't understand Carrion's intentions here, or even maybe where his storyline is going. Because I think I anticipated that was going to be his storyline in a very, like, that was his goal eventually, was to become king, and whatever steps it took for him to get there. But it sounds like he doesn't want that, which is totally kind of a Carrion way to go about things. But also, like, then why do you want to be here? I mean, other than, just because Lorith's here, or you're competitive or whatever else. But, like, you can't say, well, I'm the next in line to be king, and so I should get to be here. And then also, like, he doesn't care. Like,
well, even if you don't care about having the throne, you can still use the benefit that it gets you. I mean, everyone knows reluctant leadership is the hottest kind of leadership.
Is it? Is that how it works at Walgreens?
Yeah, a very reluctant leadership.
Are you calling yourself hot?
Look, I didn't put those.
Hey, I called him hot.
I didn't
I'm
put those two
not.
together. But I mean, if you're gonna say it,
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was good because like that's also one thing where I was like, wow, did Carrion just like not say a joke while he talked?
Right?
That was like the first serious thing he's ever said.
Well, yeah, for him to like lower his dagger all sheepishly or
Yeah.
whatever, like it felt like a very serious moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Unless
think
he was like sarcastically being sheepish. I don't know.
I don't know.
I really think that he's still holding on to so much information that no one knows because they haven't asked him what else he knows. He obviously has a lot of information, and I think he is keeping a lot of secrets, and I feel like it's intentional for right now. It just seems like there's so much more going on with him.
I'm really surprised Kingfisher hasn't asked him about Finrod.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, my first note in this chapter was this My Maker thing. We talked about it earlier. I was like, this whole My Maker thing's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. I can't really explain. It's just weird. I feel like it's a weird title to think consistently, like My Maker, My Maker. When maybe just because we don't have a background for it. Like I said, I don't know where it came from. If it was her or if it was him. But I don't know.
She was referring to him as her sire at the end of
Yeah.
Quicksilver.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Maybe
isn't like a great
with her being
improvement,
around, like
You're
that
right.
is just what maybe with her being in like Sandusroth now or whatever, and maybe she's learned that's how other vampires talk about.
Maybe.
Yeah, at
Whoever
least she's not
created
calling
them
him
or
her
whatever.
father.
Yeah. Maybe it is
Good
like
point.
a casual reference to whoever turned you.
She didn't
My
wake
daddy.
up, Daddy?
Yeah, daddy. My goodness. But they do have like a very strong connection though.
Yeah.
And I would love to know way more in how that works. But like in
know
this
you
moment. Well, no, just like even if it's not romantic.
I know.
It's like he walks in the room and she says, but the sadness radiating him through the connection we share is stronger ever today. So like, first of all, why is he so sad? But also like the fact that she could just feel that and know that it's even stronger than it was, I guess, yesterday or whatever. It's just a lot. And then I would love to know what he feels from her, like
Yeah.
when
Yeah, you
she's
would.
biting Kingfisher or like some of this other stuff. Like,
When she's
where's
biting
that come
Kingfisher.
from? No, I'm just saying, like, what does she, like, how much of this does he also feel?
Contact.
Right.
And then
arousal.
also, does that mean he's going to fall in love with Kingfisher? See where I'm going here?
Oh,
That's
why
part
choose?
of the why choose.
They all just love each other
Yeah.
Yeah.
through this weird connection
Yeah.
that I'm here for.
Hmm.
So many questions.
There was a sound I heard on TikTok today that you just made me think of, where it was like a girl singing about like her two boyfriends, and they were like arguing over who got to hold her purse, and she was like, just do the mature thing and make out, just like tongue each other. And I was like, oh, that fits this.
Wow. If that's the only solution, you know?
You know, you,
Gotta do what you gotta do. Gotta do who you gotta do.
Hey.
you gotta. My next note, kind of a change of pace, but an honorary red flag, because it's in every book, but so I'm going to mention it here and try not to for the remainder of the book. But Karen tries to touch Ceres's arm, and Kingfisher flips the F out. And I was just like, dude, just chill out. It's a bad look. And I think Karen's response to this is so great, because he's like, oh, so if she's falling off a cliff, I can't grab her hand and help her up?
Yeah.
And Kingfisher's like trying to come up with some response, and I was
So
like, yeah, that's a very valid thing. Like, what do you? He was literally just trying to like friendly be like, hey, and he's like, don't you touch my? Do you like your fingernails? I was like, dude, what the hell, man? Like, I just trying to be a friend.
He's a newly mated male. Like he is Fae. Like it's not like a human reacting to something.
Yeah, it's like an animal.
I just feel like that's just how it is. You just have to be okay with it.
If you took
You
that
have to
animal
be.
to the vet, they'd be like, yeah, we have to put it down if it's gonna bite at people who try to touch you.
What if Kingfisher was just trying to be like a girl's girl? Like, hey, do you like your fingernails? Because I do.
They're so good.
Slay, Carrion.
And Karen's just like, thanks. Visit the spa sometime.
I know.
That's really what him and the nymphs are doing there. It's just mani-pedis.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Body.
Wow.
That's funny. So during all of this interaction, though, Ceres is having this like inner dialogue with herself, or monologue, whatever you want to call it. And she says, I didn't have to feed to survive the way Talithdeus and the other members of the Cenothian court did, but I wanted to. And a little bit later, she said, technically, I represented everything Fisher detested, and I was queen now, too. And then even a little bit later, but hearing the edge in his voice when he spoke to me, that hurt more than I cared to admit. So I don't like this like potential, I don't know, rift between them maybe, or maybe it's anxiety, or I don't know, just like her apprehension maybe to their relationship because of what she's assuming Kingfisher is feeling towards all the vampires, and therefore then her and herself. And just, I don't know, I feel like it is a weird space to be in, because while she's in her room trying to figure out what's going on, Kingfisher's outside of the room killing every vampire he sees, like in the castle. Like,
Yep.
you know, it is a really weird position that they're in. And I think that's maybe even why at the beginning I felt weird about like him just killing all the vampires, because it's like she is one of those. Like,
Yeah.
where's the line here? And I think she's kind of trying to figure that out in this moment too. Like,
Killing her new people.
yeah, like where's the line of like that he's going to be okay with her, or that she's too vampire now, and that she's even maybe wanting the blood or whatever. Like, I think that that's going to end up being some sort of, I don't know, drama between them. And I think that also could be some of the, I don't know whether or not it will be like full white shoes. I feel like we've said the words white shoes in this episode more than I've ever said it before in my life. But even maybe just potential love triangle stuff with Talladega, you know, or that he accepts her for those things and Kingfisher doesn't, and, you know, that kind of stuff that we could see. I hope I hope everybody's fine. And, but it's also, again, the beginning of the book. And I
Yep.
know we're going to have some sort of thing to work through our past or whatever. So I could just see some of that is. But in this conversation as well, she asks Kingfisher to train her, and he suggests instead that she trains with Lorith. And I am so here for the Ceres Lorith training montage.
Ooh,
I'm so here for that moment and that little group. And whatever is going to come from that, big fan.
She could be swinging up onto Bill's back in no time.
Yes, she is. It's going to be great.
So this was where I found a possible second word or phrase that might be turned into ministration. So at this sentence, I think this was also the second happening of this one, but it was, I did my best to cast the niggling sensation in my stomach aside. And I wrote,
This is the word Kyle brought up. Yep.
I wrote, oh no,
I remember that, yeah.
because it was the second or third one. And I was like,
I know the first time I was like, kind of a weird choice, and then it showed up like
Yeah.
2 more times. I was like, ooh, we're sticking with it.
is it in Quicksilver?
No.
No, it's not.
But the word sensation is in Quicksilver 17 times.
Oh, because
So it was,
gotcha.
so
you were
I
looking up
looked
the
for
phrase.
niggling and I couldn't
Yeah.
find it. But the word sensation, so she used like a snapping sensation,
see,
a pleasant sensation, a burning sensation, an alien sensation, a falling sensation. So maybe she was just looking for another word.
Sure.
Found it.
And she sure
And used
found
it
it.
3 times.
We'll see. We're going to keep an eye out for whatever that phrase was.
Niggling or
Niggling.
worse for wear?
None the worse for wear.
Yeah.
And niggling, I'm going to keep an eye out for them.
Sure.
I don't know.
All right.
Well, this is just a huge shout out to the amazing audiobook narrators. That is Anthony Palmini and Stella Bloom. In this specific moment, it is a big shout out for Anthony when Carrion is looking at the like feeders' heads or whatever, and it says he went to the first female head, the one that had been sticking out of the bag, and carved himself off another slice of the apple, sliding it into his mouth and crunching loudly. 2 things. The first is right here, he said, nodding down at the head. But reading that, no big deal. But like Anthony says 2 things. The first is right there, like as if he has an apple in his mouth. And he's like
does.
saying it like he's talking over, like he's actually eating something. And it made me laugh. It was so well done. And having listened to almost 100 books this year and doing audio on so many of them, it's just, these audiobooks are so top tier.
so good.
Compared to so many of them. It's so well done.
I love
So
that.
shout out to them. And then immediately Carrion points out the fact that they have rounded ears, and Talladega says, God's alive. How did none of us notice this? They're round. Their fucking ears are round. They're human. And I'm like, okay, but like seriously, guys, like how did no one notice this? Like, you're fighting them. You're pointing out details about their arms and their runes. You cut off their head and you're staring at them trying to chew out of a bag. Like, you take them all the way over there. Like, I just feel like that's, yeah, I don't know. Was it
Kingfisher was
just like a
watching their
writing
nails
choice
more.
to wait till this moment or what? Like, I don't know. What'd you say, Kyle?
Said Kingfisher's looking at their nails more than anything else. That's why he was distracted there.
So yeah, I don't know. I was just like,
I thought the same thing though. I was like, that's crazy. Don't
Really?
you guys have
We
like
did
heightened
figure that out?
senses?
Yeah. But all right.
They do probably stink like feeders at least, so the scent maybe wouldn't have given them away, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
still. My next note was in Ceres's POV. It says, a stab of pain relayed up my arm as the whispers grew louder still, the runes on the back of my right hand throbbing. She hears us. Oh, yes, she hears us. She will come soon, soon, soon. So that's like the Quicksilver speaking. But what does this mean? Are these like her god bindings? The runes on the back of her right hand? Or was that the thing that said like all the different types of elements? Was that what Malcolm was reading off? Was it Malcolm or Belicon when he was like,
It was Malcolm.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was
assumed-
confused about was the runes.
I assumed, yeah, it was the Quicksilver talking, and I guess I thought that that's what your question was. But my actual note was like that I thought it was the Quicksilver, but maybe also she could be Madra, like Madra is watching or something, because these feeders are there, and
Oh.
if she made them or something. Because again, it would be just assuming she is Ceres in this moment,
Right.
when technically she could be anybody.
Yeah.
But
But
I don't know.
it says
That was just my own
like,
note. I have nothing on the actual.
yeah, I mean, the
runes.
Quicksilver saying she hears us and she will come soon. And then Ceres does. She like goes to the pool and goes through the Quicksilver. But yeah, I wonder if it could be somebody that we haven't even met yet. Like, I don't know. But I just thought it was weird that the runes on her right hand were throbbing. But if that included Quicksilver, if it was like the runes that had all the elements, then maybe it was just that. I just thought that was odd. And then the last line is that Amentreth has always had a pool. And at this point, this is the end of chapter 5, and I knew we were going to be stopping after chapter 6. So I thought that they were going to spend chapter 6 like at the Quicksilver pool deciding that it was time for Kingfisher and Carrion to go back to Zilvarin. Like I was like, okay, this is the end of Act 1 sort of like in the book.
Sure.
And then it was like half a sentence. They just like went through the pool back to college and I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, I just made him some relics real quick. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we could just do that.
Just
Okay.
whip those
sure.
up. Yep.
Yep. I had the exact same thought.
Yeah. So anyway, chapter 6 titles is a Ceres POV. My first note was just I thought it was funny that their Quicksilver pool was in a sepulcher. One of the lower floors of the palace. I was like, this is very on brand. I just thought it was funny. But then, yeah, Ceres makes these little relics for everyone. And one of them was a small charm of one of the gods that Fisher attached to a collar for Onyx. And now I just need someone to host like a Quicksilver themed charm bar party because this is so cute. And I want like a
that's
little,
cute.
I want like a little charm necklace or something with little Quicksilver charms on it, like a little butterfly.
Do we know which one of the gods?
No, we
the
don't. It
Onyx
just
god?
says of one of the gods. But I wonder if that was an Evelian god or a Stannisrothian god. Is that what that would be called? Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
But that is interesting. Obviously, they know stuff about the gods. I want to know. I want to know the stuff.
Well, and I think, just reading literally into everything, and we're trying to figure out if Onyx is just a fox. And like, if, he gets a certain god, whatever, is that a saying something about him? It's like, is it just,
maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
because
trying to
that's
figure
probably
that
going to
out.
stay on his collar if he's got a little
would
collar
think so.
on already.
Yeah.
That'll come back. But speaking of Onyx, in Ceres's POV, she sees her dress and it says, this is the description. A stunning dress in hunter green velvet had been waiting for me, laid out on Fisher's bed when I'd gone to freshen up. So I'm assuming this is one of those dresses that Adina had made for Ceres based on one of the bonus chapters. And it says, tiny jewels. Emeralds, I suspected, decorated the plunging neckline. The sleeves had been embroidered with green stitching, subtle, barely visible, depicting a pattern that, upon close inspection, turned out to be tiny leaping foxes. Which is so cute, but also does that mean Adina knew about Onyx too? Like, I feel like she had to have known. Which makes me think he's more than just a fox.
I mean, yeah, she seems to, she could draw Ceres perfectly,
Yeah.
even to the pointy ears. So it's just like, I feel like she would know that Onyx is there.
And Ceres is like the most important person in Fisher's life. So I don't know. She's having visions about that.
Well, they have this little party that they all gather around to kind of celebrate all being together back at college and all this stuff. And it said, and over the top of the warm welcome came the excited squeal of a small white fox. Onyx! And I was like, the poor little guy just spent who knows how long climbing a freaking mountain just to get to her, only for 2 seconds later to just end up back at college. I was like, that sucks
terrible.
so bad for him.
Onyx.
Poor guy.
Oh my gosh.
in her POV, as she's just kind of looking and noticing everyone around her, she says there were no invisible ties binding me to any of the people before me. She was just kind of thinking of, coming from Amentreth. And I just replied to this. I was like, exactly, because this is like kind of what I'm getting at with
your
her being
theories.
bound by the blood now, and that being like a huge indicator of how her relationship is going to change, not only with Fisher but with everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit later, she does talk about like it would actually hurt a lot, or it would mean a lot, or whatever she said. Some line about like having actual connection to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like I don't know. I'm glad she's like finally finding her little found family and stuff. But yes, having a happy dinner with everybody at the beginning of the book.
Yep.
Like,
No.
That was like, oh my gosh.
gonna rip out our hearts. Oh no.
So I have another note about the narrators here because obviously I'm obsessed with Anthony Palmini's accent for Renfus. We talked about that a lot in book 1. But Stella's accent for Ishabal is so freaking cute. And I just needed to call it out here. You go, Stella. This is adorable.
And hot.
Yes.
Big fan of the Scottish accent. Big fan. But Saris herself even comments on the accent and says, now that I come to think about it, her accent was fairly familiar to Renfus's. I would have to ask him if they hailed from the same part of Avelia. So is this like important, or is this just like a fun fact?
I think this would potentially make Renfus a Galarian Fae, if that is true. And I don't remember why, but I do remember in book 1 thinking, I really want to talk to some of these Galarian Fae because I feel like they have a lot of information. But I do think that, I was going to say this in Thoughts and Theories too, I think at some point we're going to Nevercross, which is like in the Balketer clan lands. So it would be interesting traveling there with this group, and then maybe we'll learn a little bit more about Renfus and like where he came from if they are from the same part of the continent.
Yeah. Here
That's
for
fun.
that. And then we see how Lorith is acting around Ishabal. He's so in love with her, I'm just here to say.
Yeah.
He's got
And
it bad.
he's so bad. And he's just fighting his own dumb biases or whatever you want to really call it.
Yeah.
That's keeping him away. But like even Saris asks Ishabal, why does he hate your kind so much? And Ishabal says, it's probably best if I let him tell you that one. So now I want to know the tea. Like there's history there. There's something going on. And I am invested. And I'm also so here for that relationship.
And who
go
wouldn't
for it.
love Ishabal with her cute accent?
wouldn't
and
love
her red
Lorith?
hair?
I'm loving both of them. Big fan.
Yes.
And then we find out that Saris is going to see Everlane in the morning. And they were like, hearing your voice might be the final push that she needs to wake up.
No.
I'm so excited to see Everlane on page and just kind of get a read on her and where she's at in her current whatever situation she's currently in. Is she vampire? Is she fae still? Is she evil? Is she good? Like, I've had so many theories. That's probably the thing I fixated on the most since reading Quicksilver. And I'm just really excited to even get just like a tiny bit with her actually on page and get some sort of insight. So I hope that means tomorrow is chapter 7. That's what I hope.
This makes me kind of nervous though, because saying hearing your voice might be the final push she needs to wake up makes me think that like Everlane's going to hear Saris's voice and like freak the F out. Like, I don't know.
Like, because
like, is
she's
she
now
going to be
queen?
pissed at her and try to attack her, or like, I don't know.
But like, what if it's because she's queen and she says like, wake up, and she has to.
Oh.
You know, because she has
That's
this
what I
like
was thinking.
new magic power or something. I don't know.
Ooh.
I just need to see Everlane on page so bad.
Oh, I'm nervous. Okay.
Yeah, because we don't really know what happens to their creator if an enthralled, like if the creator dies, what happens to the enthralled?
Well,
I mean,
technically
we do
that's
Taladeus.
Yeah. Although we don't know if Malcolm's actually dead.
True.
That's a good point.
I think they're just free.
Oh,
That's how
yeah,
Tal's
I guess
acted.
I guess they kind of alluded to that, didn't they? But like, yeah, what if Tal? Well, yeah, we know that Tal is Everlane's creator,
Yeah,
right?
that she's enthralled to him. Yeah. I don't know. That's
Well,
why
I
we need to
guess-
see her on page. We need
Yeah.
information.
I guess we don't technically know if what they did worked. Like,
Awkward
There's
though.
Telena
we're
and Ishabal.
supposedly they're telling us that it worked, but
Oh.
you know, she hasn't been able to wake up this entire time, so we don't really know, I guess. But anyway.
Yeah, because I was going to say if Everlane is a vampire now, then that would make her and Sarah sisters. But then Kingfisher is Everlane's brother, so that's kind of awkward.
Oh no. Okay. Like half brother.
Half sister. So it
Anyway.
doesn't count.
It doesn't even now.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, and then this is where Saris and Danya have their little awkward interaction.
It's not awkward. It's cute.
And Danya says, "Where's the redhead?" Sarah says, "Who?" And she says, "The annoying male with witty comebacks." And Saris replies, "You think Carrion is funny?" Danya rolled her eyes. "Never mind." And I wrote, "Oh my gosh, it really is going to happen."
It's so happening. It's happening.
It's happening.
I would like to read another quote from this section.
Oh, brother.
Carrion and Danya together would be the kind of living hell that I had no desire to experience firsthand. I wrote same.
Well, you'll experience it secondhand, so you'll be fine.
Yeah. Can't fight the inevitability.
Yeah,
She's just
I'm here for
gross.
it.
She's trying
do
too
it.
hard. She looks like a rug rat. I don't like her.
Not
Connor-
anymore. Oh my
Con,
gosh.
if Carrion was around you, you would also be trying so hard.
Yeah,
So give
but
the girl the benefit of a doubt. Like,
But
let her
I'm not an
be.
asshole.
Well, that's what Carrion's into, so I guess you don't have a child.
Ooh,
Ooh,
good point.
sick burn.
Get him.
In this same conversation, though, I do think that Saris, like, trying and failing to make friends with Danya was funny to me. Like, just asking innocent, like, normal questions, and Danya's just, like, shooting her down at every single opportunity was good.
Yes, my favorite example of that was Sarah saying, "What prompted the dramatic cut?" Danya said, "A burning corpse set me on fire."
Yeah. Or well, the
That's
other one
what
was just her being
happened.
like, "Oh, I like the new hair though." And she was like, "Well, long hair is like, went on this whole tirade about like short hair is such a, I don't know, it gives me the same vibes about just like talking to someone at a party and you're like they're like, "Oh, you and your dad." And they're like, "Yeah, well, my dad's dead." You're like, "Okay, I'm just gonna drink and I'm gonna go this way. See ya." Like the conversation over.
That's Danya. Yep. I have our first candle watch of this book, you guys, because Saris is noticing that she can smell a kingfisher from across the room. And it's described as bruised herbs, citrus, smoke, leather, pine, and cold mountain air.
It's a lot of stuff.
A lot of notes.
Using a lot of soaps.
Yeah. And then I just have a note about Cutie Archer. He was so cute in this whole chapter. But Sarah says in her POV, "I've never seen him wear clothes before, but tonight he had donned a thick hunter green vest with gold buttons down the front that covered most of his rotund little belly." And she said, "Wow, you're looking very handsome tonight, Archer." Making a show of taking him in. He's so proud. That's so cute.
Do we know what Kingfisher is wearing at this party? To describe that.
I don't
Because
think
her,
so.
her dress was hunter green, and then Archer's wearing
Oh.
hunter green.
Aw.
So it's like, is that like the color of the house or
Nice.
something?
The theme,
Or,
yeah.
Cute if they match.
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe Adina made
Anyways.
Archer some clothes too.
Yeah, they would have matched. It would have been
Little
cute.
fireproof clothes.
Well, do you think she would have made a little like onesie for the fox if she knew that fox was coming along?
Little bandana.
Maybe Onyx is getting a Christmas sweater.
Maybe.
Christmas sweater.
Just picturing her be like, "I'm gonna make these beautiful dresses for your future mate, and we're gonna little puppy too. We're gonna make a clothes."
It's like a little bandana.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, this is too small for me.
Kingfisher gets mixed up as like, for some reason my mom left you a dog bowl to eat out of. I don't know.
It's the collar. Maybe his collar's hunter green.
Yeah, your mom made you a collar. I don't know. I mean, man.
Well, they continue on in their conversation, and we add another title for Saris. From Archer here, he says, "From now on, you are Lady of Kalish." Archer made a little squeak of excitement, and I wrote, "A squeak." He squeaked.
Your voice cracked on that. That was amazing.
And then I don't know if this is the last line, but it's pretty close to the last line. But it says, "An evening of kinship and calm. There was still so much to be uncertain about, but tonight we were all taking a collective breath, and it felt good." And I just wrote, "Shit is about to hit the fan."
Yeah.
So
Like,
nervous.
what a sentence.
Yep.
I am so nervous, especially because, first of all, shout out to our mods for helping us come up with these chapter breakdowns because we
Huge
are.
Shout out to our mods.
Yes, we are going into this completely blind. So Julie, specifically from our whole mods team, was working together on these, but Julie really took one for the team and read the entire book so fast. But because they chose to cut us off here, I am really nervous about what's going to happen in chapter 7. But my last two notes from this chapter were more quotes about Carrion and Danya, and not here for it. But it says, was she flirting with him knowing that he'd just come from having sex with at least one other person? That was just right up Carrion's street. And I wrote, no!
Mm-hmm. For me, it was, I mean, I'm totally here for their relationship. But Danielle weirdly breathing in his scent when everyone else switched to breathing with their mouth open was...
It's weird.
That was super weird.
It's weird. And then somebody said... if
right
they
up Carrion Street, so...
Yeah, they got the same freak.
True, I know.
Mm-hmm.
She's matching his
Somebody
freak.
gonna match his freak.
Hey, that works.
Oh, I don't like it. But somebody said if they procreate, I'm banishing them from college. Was this Kingfisher?
I think so.
He says, I'm banishing them from college. A combination of the two of them would probably tear open some sort of hell gate and suck the entire estate through it. Which honestly might be true. Or I hate this even more because it could just be foreshadowing that, like, they have a child who saves the planet or something.
Nice.
I just was mashing on my keyboard in all caps. That's it.
My last note for this little chapter section was Kingfisher's official proposal to Ceres when everyone was talking about them getting married. It pretty much boils down to, just kidding, unless.
And then he's like all disappointed.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, it's fine.
Yeah, but the last line of this section before we move on is Archer looked like he was about to cry. Slowly, the little fire spark sank down onto his stool. Poor little Archer.
So sad. All right.
I'm leading us into the thoughts section of our time this evening. Characters, world building, favorite things, writing, etc.
All right, well, for me, the line vampire, fae, maker, mate. It's just been stuck with me in my head. I just can't. I'm
She won't
so
stop
hooked.
saying it.
I know. I'm so hooked. I'm so invested. I am a 1,000,000% game for a why choose. But really, at the end of the day, I just want all the relationships and the happiness and the romance and the stuff, whether that's as one giant group or not. I'm going to be happy either way. And really, I just missed this world and the characters so much. It was so fun. I don't know, just being introduced to everyone. I think I highlighted everyone's first line of the book and just being like, oh, Ceres' first line. She's back in the book. And like all the things. I was so excited. And I just loved it so much. And I don't know, I'm excited to learn if all my theories were correct because I don't think I've ever, as much as we at the end of Quicksilver and prep for Brimstone, I don't think I've ever sat and like verbalized as many theories before as I have for other books. You know, I might have my little things I keep in my brain or whatever as I'm reading. But doing it on the podcast, I think this is the most I've ever like said them out loud. You know, so I'm excited to see if that all becomes correct or if I'm so wildly off.
Yeah.
Kat?
Everything I've read so far bolsters earlier thoughts of my own and the internet at large who believe in a why choose situation, which would be kind of nice because I've never read one before. Have I seen it in movies? Sure. Have I seen it parodied on TV? Certainly. Have I lived it myself? That's my business.
Oh.
But I've never read it.
I wasn't there.
I'm also very much here for the instantaneous vindication of Carrie Anya that we've been harping on. For
Nice.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, I'm here for that.
Yeah.
Yes, good start. I am very intrigued by the Hazrax.
Lorax is Lorith. Wait a minute.
Lorax is Lorith and the Hazrex.
No.
Oh, we
No.
doubled down. It's a new book,
Stop
guys.
it. It's my thing. I love the old Rob Roy moment, the Fisher pulled on Aerith. Absolutely epic. Need more of that in the book.
Sweet.
Good stuff. Good start.
Cool. I had a similar sentiment to Lauren that I know it's only been a couple months since we finished the first book, but I really miss these characters so much, other than Danya. I am loving the action already, and I am a big fan of Vampire Queen Ceres. Overall, this book is almost nothing like I expected so far, but I love when that happens. And I'm very excited for Callie to keep surprising us as this world expands.
Yep.
Well, moving on to a little bit of theories, since we can all do it this time. What are our theories, John?
All right, buckle up, people. As I've talked a little bit before, I think there are some major implications with her deciding to feed from Fisher and now being, leashed or bound by the blood, as they say. I think a lot of it has to do with how their magic works, like the whole magic system with the vampires specifically, and possibly how it's affected by whoever is king or queen. So let me explain. So first of all, it felt odd that Aerith was like so overjoyed when she did it. Like he knew what it would truly mean being who and what she is. You know, or maybe it was just simply because he had the whole plan to like kill her right after it happened. But how she reacted after and how it suddenly, like the hall became beautiful. So my hot take with that, I low-key kind of want her to turn into the bad guy of the story. So like, I don't think it makes sense anymore for her to, now she's the queen, and then like mostly by a very convenient accident. And it's just an easy decision of like, okay, now we can destroy them from the inside, like being queen and all that. And also I think she's just going to find it more and more difficult as the book goes on for her to go against like her people now, like now that she's bound and is like under the law. And I think that has to do with the tattoo and what I think about the whole, like I feel like that was a contract of sorts. She's not going to be able to do as much. She's not going to be able to go against her own people now as much, quote unquote. With the 8 feeders and how they're different, that kind of goes into, I think that's because she's queen now, and the magic of her being queen and ruling over the vampires has changed like what they are a little bit. Like she's a mix. She's not affected by iron or silver, just like the new feeders. And I don't find it a coincidence that like they showed up shortly after she fed from Fisher, now bound by blood. And I feel like this ties into the power of the rings that the 5 have as well. Malcolm is quote unquote dead, which leads me to believe that the source of magic wasn't only on him, or that it's at least something like much bigger. And that's why it's important for the coronation to happen so quickly so that the magic that they have like isn't affected. So I think there's some much larger work with whatever the source is. I have like a small theory that maybe Everlane will play a major role in finding out what the source is, since she was enthralled. Like maybe she has some memory, or like a shared memory type of thing. And then when it comes to the gods, I think if Zareth doesn't get involved in this book, I think maybe Bal and Mythen will in some way, because they have like a soft spot for Fisher. And I think their excuse for showing up to Avelia will actually be to bone Carrion. And I think we're gearing up for some serious emoji erotica in this book.
Because he would do it too.
Yeah.
All fair points.
Oh my
Whether or not it's that relationship, there's bound to be some serious emoji erotica in this book.
True.
From literally everyone. But, you know.
Literally.
Okay, I think I see the setup for Carrion and Kingfisher to go to Zilvarin, you know, because of these feeders or whatever, if they're human and stuff. Like, it makes sense. Because I've honestly been surprised that they haven't already gone to get Hayden. Or, like, I guess I thought maybe that was the only reason they went. And I don't know why they would have to be there long for that, since it took Kingfisher, like, an hour to get Carrion to bring him back, you know? But I guess in my head I was like, well, maybe they haven't gone to get Hayden because something with the Quicksilver and whatever. But then she like just jumps into the Quicksilver in 0.2 seconds in this one. So I guess I don't know why we haven't gone to get Hayden, but maybe there's some bigger reason that they have. I don't know. And then this will set up them going to Zilvarin for whatever. And then I wonder if that means that this is Madra's big bad. Like she's the big bad of book 2. Since Malcolm was kind of the big bad of book 1. And then that would leave Bellicon for book 3. And like finishing out the trilogy that it's supposed to be. But I guess we'll find out. And then I just really need to see Everlane on page again, because I think that's going to change or confirm a lot of my theories that I have, as far as even just stuff with Bellicon and how her relationship with him and stuff, obviously with the vampires and whatever. But I don't think I'll get all my answers, obviously, in my first interaction with her, but I think most of my theories revolve around her. So guess we'll find out.
Ooh, when I first finished this section, I did not feel like I had a lot of theories, and now things are just sort of like popping up as we're talking about it. So first of all, one thing I was just sort of surprised by is that typically our first episode of a book is the longest pronunciation guide of the book. But this one, we really only had like 5 new names, and that was it. So I was expecting there to be a lot more like introductions to new characters or something, but now I'm thinking we'll probably get that when Carrion and Kingfisher go to Zilvarin, and then whenever we go to Nevercross, whenever we go to Graves Point, because I think both of those will still happen, even if it's not in this book, but hopefully in this book. I am totally on board with John's theory rabbit hole from this week, but I also feel like I have no idea where this book is going as a whole. So it sounds like it's contracted for like a core trilogy is the plan for this series. So this book would have to be set up for some big conclusion to the trilogy. And if our group is going to be split up for a while, this may be like almost like a side quest book, or maybe the big bad is like John was talking about, maybe some like internal conflicts with Ceres, like fighting between these two natures that she now has, and then how that affects all of her relationships. And then as on board as I would be for a why choose situation, now I'm also a little nervous that it's a distraction from us not being able to trust Taladeus at all. And now I'm worried that he be lying about stuff, because I trusted him.
Ooh.
I trusted him right away. But this, I mean, John bringing up some of this stuff too, like that we're finding out that he was the one who enthralled Everlane, and also just thinking through, like, I just feel like maybe we just didn't get it on page because Ceres was recovering. But I feel like it would have been such a huge deal for him that Malcolm was dead, because he would have felt a difference in not being enthralled anymore. And I'm a little nervous because Taladeus is apparently the only one they know of who can also turn people into vampires. I'm like kind of nervous that he was never enthralled to Malcolm to begin with, and that he was using that as an excuse to get away with things. Also, only because I'm just thinking about this now with the Maze bonus chapter, where Taladeus would come and like hang out with Kingfisher and like quote unquote sneak him food, like he was trying to get in his good graces whenever he could get around the enthrallment. But like if he was never actually enthralled to Malcolm, but everyone thought he was, he could have been doing things like that to earn trust while he was, you know, being shady. So I don't know.
Well, and we get that one sentence where it was like, Taladeus is more sad today than yesterday or whatever it was. And it's like, I said, why is he sad? You know, maybe he is actually mourning Malcolm or having, I don't know. Why is he sad?
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm just split. I'm not really firmly in either camp now. I'm like excited for the why choose, but I still am not. I don't know. I'm on the fence about whether or not I can trust him.
I'm just mainly expecting a lot more from the Hazarax. I don't think I can take it on good faith that they're just there to watch like some neutral immortal with a voyeurism kink. Yeah. They'll become more involved. And hopefully we get like a whole new race to learn about, even though it says they're the last of their kind. We've just been told that. Or maybe one of the gods, like John touched on earlier, has been there the whole time, and that is the Hazarax. Just like a god who like never really left, maybe left their station in the sense of like, I'm just gonna watch for a while, but like they're still there and could act if they wanted to. But yeah, that's all I got for this week.
All right. Well, that takes us to the cry counter. This is the part of the episode where we talk about all the times we cried each time we read, and no one's cried yet. So, good job, everyone. Yes, big yet on that one. We'll just see how it goes. I think Con won cry count for Quicksilver.
Oh, so it was for the bonus chapter. It wasn't even for the book.
Oh, that's right.
Does it still count? I don't know.
Well, if it counts as
either
part of
way,
the book,
let's see.
Gotta...
For the series. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, and that pretty much wraps up our first section of Brimstone.
We did it.
Yeah, next episode we'll cover chapters 7 to 16, and you can find our full episode schedule pinned on our Instagram if you'd like to read along with us. Or, if you've read the entire thing in a day, you know exactly how long you'll be held in suspense waiting for our reaction to that scene. You know the one. We don't, but you probably do. Speaking of knowing things, we all know that knowledge is power, and with power comes responsibility. So if you have read this book already, please be mindful of the fact that we have not and do not post spoilers, especially in our DMs, because that's actually a hate crime. Maybe not, but it's very upsetting. We do have channels in our Discord dedicated to both spoiler-free chats that keep up with our progress through the book, and spoiler-full chats that you can speak openly about anything throughout the entire series on our Discord server. So please join us there through Patreon to commiserate with us as we read, or to make fun of our theories in a place that we won't be able to see until we're done reading. And now, with a freestyle rap from John about our socials.
No. But please still follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Between Pages and Friends. Check out betweenpagesandfriends.com for merch, events, and to sign up for our newsletter to keep up with all things happening at BPNF. Until next time, stay wordy, stay nerdy, don't stress, and stay blessed.
Stay blessed or whatever.
Bye-bye.
How dare you.
I like that it actually says Newell Setter.
I fixed that.
It's typoed.
Oh, Null Setter. I fixed the
Set some
double T,
nulls.
not the nulls.
Sign up for the newsletter.
Stupid.